Top of the morning, smart action traders, and happy Wednesday, July 2nd. Welcome to the most value-packed live options trading show, episode 78, where we live trade, break down charts, cover high-impact events, talk trader mindset, and most of all, help everyday traders unlock consistent profitability by focusing on process over profits. Hopefully, everyone had a great day yesterday. Is ready to kick off another opportunity-filled day. Solid trading day yesterday. We saw a lot of chop. Despite the chop, we were able to navigate through the day. We didn't have a positive win rate, but we did have a green day nonetheless. So make sure to go back and check out yesterday's episode to really see how we're able to navigate those conditions. Despite the chop, despite the mess, if you really stayed patient, if you really stayed true to the levels, really picked out certain levels and waited patiently, those opportunities did present themselves. So yesterday, the patient traders were rewarded. The ones who were a little impatient maybe did get the best entries. Like a couple times I was caught with not the best entry, but as long as you manage risk, you shall survive. So the objective is in those kind of conditions, guys, just try to survive, and especially for the trend traders, when it's chop, your objective is to survive. It's just to get by, because now if you do too much damage during the time that we're chopping, if you're getting beat up, if you're not surviving, then when you are trending, when the trend does appear, all the gains you make is just to dig you out of the hole, right? So you want to get to the point where just survive during the chop, and now when the trend rolls around, when the trend comes back, you can really thrive and you can really start seeing that exponential growth. So that's the objective today. So the objective today is, again, try to take the A plus setups, be a little more patient. We did manage risk well yesterday. That's the objective on my side. But before we jump into it, guys, before we get started, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe and take the next steps in joining our community. Go to smartactiontrade.com/community. There's two ways to join. You can do the monthly. Once you do the monthly, you get access to the live trading, the live screen share, the 1 to 3 trading ideas, along with the automated technicals. For the automated technicals, guys, there has been an update. I updated the automated technicals. Let me show you real quick. So if you are in the Discord, just go here, automated levels. Now you have automated levels for SPY, of course. Our bread and butter, you have it for the Elite 8, right, and the bird's eye views of all the indexes and some of the commodities in the VIX. So all those levels, you have three of those to pay attention to. So that's going to be really cool. So again, make sure you join the Discord to access that yearly. You get 2 months free, and the private coaching call. Of the people who did join through the yearly, message me in the Discord so we can set up that coaching call. Okay, we can set up that coaching call. Message me in the Discord, and I'll send you my calendar. Or we'll set up a coaching call for you to get started whenever you're ready and whenever you want to book it. So let me know if you do take that. Outside of that, I do host coaching, right? So make sure to take advantage of the coaching. A lot of people are benefiting from it. So if you need that one-on-one attention, if you feel like you're spinning, if you feel like you need something to get you off to a better start, or it's a new quarter, it's a new month, you're trying to kind of blow past the ceiling, you hit a certain limit, you want to get past it, this is the perfect program for you. All right, so make sure to take advantage of all the services and all the solutions. So before we jump into our pre-market program, let's jump right into what took place last week or yesterday. What took place yesterday? So yesterday, we did get the manufacturing PMI, PMI. That was the biggest catalyst. And the price action, we gapped down. So we finally gapped down. When we gapped down, we came right into that weekly upside breaker. So to kick things off, look how ugly the price action was. To kick things off, the price action was ugly. The first trade idea came in and bounced off that 616.39, 616.40, which is that weekly upside breaker for a nice little pop. We're able to take advantage of that. And that was the nice push that we saw into that daily 50% retrace, and we did not fill that gap. So initial attempt at that gap fill, we had that fail. We went into PMH. We came into PMH. Once we got there, we rejected aggressively, came back to 50% retrace, bounced off of that. We talked about the 50-50 setup the entirety of the day. It did come into play a few times, but the main thing is, guys, whenever we have a bunch of key levels converging like this, more than likely is just another sign of chop. So when the writing's on the wall, just read it and follow it. If there's a bunch of chop, we can't try to look for those expansions unless we're taking breakdowns. So it's very important for us to understand that. So once we did reject off that PMH, we came back to that 50-50 territory. We bounced again. We finally filled that gap. That was essentially a trap up there. We trapped. We kind of are accumulating in this fashion. We have support there. We kind of sell off. We push all the way back at that weekly upside breaker, and we continue to chop. So whenever you're seeing these periods of chop, that's when, if you don't have the right entry, if you just are participating in the wrong area, trusting the key level, it can really, really be frustrating. Okay, so in that time, it's very important to manage the risk, know what you're risking. If you do want to sit through the chop, just adjust your risk to the timeline. Right, adjust your risk to the timeline. The chop can be anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. Okay, the chop can be from anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. And when we did see that, we did have that nice expansion to the upside. We came into 50% retrace and aggressively dumped. We aggressively dumped all the way into PML. So I would say the past 10 trading days, PML has been absolutely on fire. Okay, so PML did provide that opportunity. We kind of highlighted it during the episode as well. But that was one setup I didn't take. Of course, the one setup I don't take happens to be the one setup that absolutely goes parabolic. And that move right there, that's all you really need to catch. Okay, that's the A plus move I'm speaking of. A plus move right there. A plus move right there into PMH. Outside of that is just chop, chop, chop. And if you can get the breakdowns in your favor, the breakdowns work in your favor. And we continue to accumulate in this fashion. So throughout this time, a couple of you brought up that inverse head and shoulder. We talked about if we take out these highs, there's going to be that higher high. The next thing is once you see that higher high, your job becomes, where is the higher low? Where is the higher low? If you can find that higher low, if that coincides with the inverse head and shoulder, there you go. Right, so we continue to trade in that channel, chop around, and by the time we climb above that PMH, a couple of bounce opportunities off that PMH, we push all the way into 618.83. We chop around a little bit more, and we just dump right here. We dump right here. They love to do that during these chop days. Right, they like to accumulate, dump. Right, a dump comes into 50% retrace, grabs fourth shift lows, chops around again, explodes, pushes, and then we kind of close off right near that weekly open. So shout out to Taco Vix for calling out the close. So he was able to call out the exact number on the close. Awesome job on doing that. And if you can guess the closing price 4 out of the 5 days, just let us know because we can make a ton of money off of that. Okay, so to recap, yesterday we gapped down. We did fill that gap within first shift. We opened up at that 61642. We got as high as that 61883, and we got as low as that 61552, and we closed at 61754. We made a daily move of 1.21 points, and our range to kick off July is 3.13 points. Moving right along. So if we take a look at the sectors, tech was flat. It was down 0.89 points. Communication services down 0.7 points. Everything else was in the green. Materials led the way, 2.59 points. So there's an indictment on how the Dow showed strength. Consumer discretionary, consumer staples is at 1.25 points. Behind that, healthcare as well. So materials, healthcare, consumer staples, all up. That's basically the move that we saw in the Dow. When we take a look at the biggest winners here, the biggest winners, LVS, ticker symbol LVS, up 8.89 points in the S&P. Ticker symbol WYNN, up 8.85 points. Ticker symbol BLDR, up 8.76 points. And ticker symbol PKG, up 7.59 points. And last but not least, MGM, up 7.27 points. So this might be a seasonal thing. We can see out of the top five, 3 of them have to do with resorts, right? LVS, Wynn, MGM, right? XLY. When we take a look at the biggest losers in the S&P for the day, ticker symbol WMB, down 6.51 points. Exxon down, ticker symbol AXON, down 6.35 points. Tesla down 5.34 points. HWM down 5.32 points, and EXE down 4.92 points. Honorable mention will go with Warner Bros. WBD, down 4.54 points. Heat map. When we take a look at the heat map, NVIDIA's pulling back. Semiconductors are pulling back. Meta's pulling back. Tesla took a hit. Microsoft down 1.08 points. And Apple kind of does its own thing. Okay, Apple is a lone wolf, right? Of course, it's one of the biggest names in the S&P ETF, the SPY ETF, as well as the Qs, but it kind of does its own thing. So we can see a majority of the Mag 7s did pull back. Palantir 4%, Netflix 4%, down 3%. Meta down 2.56%. Apple surprisingly up 1.29%. We saw some strength in healthcare. So a relative pullback in all the names that led the charge into all-time highs. So we're seeing a pullback on the names, on the sectors that led us into the charge into all-time highs. And now let's see if the ones that are lagging can catch up. And if those ones that are lagging can catch up, if we continue to pull back on these names, then those will start pulling back as well. So let's see how that dynamic plays out throughout the day or throughout the week. Monster was the biggest We saw a lot of flow coming into MSTR, MicroStrategies, now Monster MSTR, MicroStrategies. We saw about $142 million in the premium coming in. 80-day DTEs, 390 calls. We did see some more calls coming into CRWV, more call activity, the 17-day DTEs. That stood out to me. And we saw some activity in Amazon, the 2-day DTEs, the 150 strike. About $35 million did come into that name. So again, more activity coming into CRWV. I do have some technical I want to go over on CRWV core wave with you guys when we do get a chance. So we'll go over that as well. On the ETFs, as far as ETFs are concerned, XLI was, we did see XLI, we did see some activity there. Nothing too significant, right? That's industrials, QQQ, some call activity there as well. 13 million, nothing too significant. So if the ETFs are below 50 million, that I would say that's the threshold. There's nothing too major taking place. We can see SPY, we did see some put activity there, 45-day DTEs. But the main thing is, guys, the main thing is that July 9th date. That July 9th date is on everyone's calendar. Circle that date because that's when the decision has to be made. And is that 90-day pause going to be lifted, or is it going to be extended, or is there going to be no pause at all, and we're going to continue with the original plan for the tariffs? So July 9th, a very, very important date moving forward. Fear and greed, we continue to hang out in this greed territory. Okay, that's normal. But once we start taking into this extreme greed territory, that's when I start getting a little skeptical. Okay, and in the pre-market, we can see that ADP non-farm NFP came out. Previous reading 29K, forecast 99K, actual reading minus 33K. So that's about 123,000 to the downside. Oh, okay, there's a couple of people waiting. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so ADP came in. What else you need to look out for? We do have a lesser event. We did have crude oil inventories, right? Crude oil inventories at 10:30. So that's a yellow folder. Might not have as much impact, but that's still something you want to consider and monitor. And again, guys, I'm going to make this available for you guys as well. So this is going to be updated every day. So far, I'll make this available in the Discord. So I'm going to send you the key levels, the key zones, the key levels, the weekly, the daily, and the monthly key levels, as well as the catalyst. And we'll start tracking the reaction that we get. Okay, so we'll start tracking the reaction that we get. So yesterday we saw we had these catalysts here. It was a double beat on all of them, but we continue to chop. All right, so this will be available, and you can adjust it as well to your liking. You can download it on your own and add more tickers if you want. But primarily focus on these. Right, and this will be, I'll paste this in the education and tools. So let's jump right into it. So how did the market react to the ADP NFP? So ADP NFP, we initially sold off. We can see that SPY is kind of recovering, bouncing off that weekly upside breaker. The Qs continue to push lower on the hourly. A little pullback here on the Dow as well. A little pullback here on the IWM. IWM, if you trade IWM, pay attention to 217.40. 217.40, pay attention to that level. Give me 1 second. Let me stand up. 217.40, pay attention to that level for that retest of that weekly upside breaker. Alongside that 20, if that 20 can trail into that weekly upside breaker, there's a good chance that we can see a high probability bounce off of that 217.40. So pay close attention to that. Outside of that, we are seeing a little bit of strength in Bitcoin. It's above that 107.58. Let's see if we can push into 108 and trigger that weekly upside breaker. Gold inside after making that parabolic move yesterday. Look at that move over the past 2 days, and we're above that 50% retrace on the weekly. Again, crude continues to chop around. So crude oil inventories coming in intraday, right? We'll see what kind of impact it has on crude, right? So crude for the past handful of days just chopping around. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For the past 7 sessions, crude has not made a significant move in either direction after making that significant move to the downside. So the question becomes, do we accumulate, push the downside? Do we accumulate, base out, and push the upside? VIX above that 17. Of course, we got to monitor that 17.48. See if we can stay below that. Again, we'll dissect the VIX a little further once we get into our primary setup. Individual names. So Apple not doing much. Microsoft and NVIDIA. If you want to take a bounce on NVIDIA, pay close attention to this level. 150.38 to 149.25. Write that down. Palantir level that I liked for the trade ideas in the community for the swings is in this territory. I probably won't swing it, right? But I'll evaluate it, see if it comes into that territory, and I want to see it kind of base out in that territory before I do take a swing. AVGO is inside. Google is inside. Microsoft is leading the way to the downside. We did see some weakness on Microsoft, but it did hit target already at 489.43. But if it continues to push, Microsoft between 486.81, 485.88. Meta between 711.80, 707.03. Somewhere in that territory. It is a wide range, but pay attention to these zones to the downside. We're seeing a nice push on Tesla here all of a sudden. Right, Tesla's pumping to the upside, retesting that weekly upside, weekly downside breaker. Tesla is directional to the downside. See if Tesla can recover a little bit as a test at 200 and test that weekly downside breaker on the hourly. Okay, so let's get right into our bread and butter. SPY. So before we jump into the technicals, before we jump in any lower, what I want to bring to your attention is we're at all-time highs, and look at this quarterly candle. The quarterly candle tells us everything we need to know. We're directional on the quarter. As soon as we take out that quarterly upside breaker, we're going to go 3-2 continuation. We're going to be at all-time highs, and the party continues. The party continues. How long will the party last? That's yet to be determined. But as soon as we break above that weekly upside breaker, hold above it, continue to push. We're at all-time highs, and then we can continue to push. When we drop down to the monthly, same thing with the monthly, guys. Same thing with the monthly. So the monthly and the quarterly are all in sync. So for the first month of the quarterly and the monthly is going to be the same candle. Second month of the quarter, it's going to be two different candles. All right. So again, we are as bullish as can be. We can use a pullback here. I wouldn't mind a healthy pullback at least into 590 and 598. Right, 590 and 585. That would be a relatively healthy pullback on the higher time frames. Intraday, that would be an aggressive push lower. But as far as the daily and the weekly are concerned, that's pretty healthy. So we're directional on all time frames. If we take a look at the daily, drop down to the daily, we can see we went inside yesterday. So no surprise we went inside. Sorry about that. So no surprise we went inside. So again, whatever side we break on the inside candle is more than likely the direction we're going to go unless we reverse the entire move. So inside day on yesterday. So let's drop right down into the technicals. Right, intraday. If you are in the Discord, make sure to give the pre-market game plan a read. Give it a read. It will give you better context. So yesterday, this is what I laid out. This is what we laid out yesterday. As far as the logic, right? The logic and how we're moving. Essentially, we accumulated here. We expanded, nice trend higher, leg higher. And now we're at this accumulation point here. So this accumulation point, this consolidation point will be critical 2 weeks from now. 1 week from now, we'll be able to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we were accumulating here. So we want to put ourselves in the position to be directionally right in the future, right? So as far as this is concerned, if we continue to trade in this territory, guys, there's no trend. So all my trend traders, all my trend folks, there's nothing we're really moving. There's no movement. Unless you catch the bottom to the top to the bottom, there's no expansion move we're seeing. All right, so maybe adjust the strategy. Maybe look for liquidity grabs if we continue to chop. If we do start trending to the downside, or if we start making a move to the downside, trying to pursue the 610, we have to get below 615. We need to get below 615, get below that 50, and we have that nice little runway into that daily downside target, which happens to be this pivot low here, and that's 610. So we have a nice runway to the downside. We are kind of running out of room to the upside. Anything above that daily upside, anything above that 619.22 is automatically an all-time high. So the logic I laid out was this: anytime we're above 615, at any moment in time, an all-time high is looming. Anything can happen. We can just spike into an all-time high, right? And that kind of gives you you kind of have a bullish bias by default in the back of your mind because we're so close to all-time highs. So it's very important that we don't fall in love with the all-time highs, right? Just because we're close to it, we don't always have to hold our targets into all-time highs and get that continued push higher. So just trade the trade as if we're not at all-time highs. Trade it as if we're kind of in the middle of wherever we are when we're accumulating here. right? When we're accumulating here, right, in this channel, trade it as if we're here. Same kind of thing, same kind of approach. The only difference is we're just accumulating right below all-time highs. All right, so very, very important that we put the right hat on. If we're looking for the trend, wait for the break. If you're looking for the liquidity grabs, you can take advantage of that as well. Okay, so very, very important. Again, primary thing I'm going to pay attention to is 615 bounce. If we come into that by default, I'm going to look to take it back to the upside. If we get above that 619.22, we have room at that 620 psychological level, and we have some of these fib levels up here: 621.07, 622.50, 623.82, and then we have that 625. So basically what I'm thinking is, guys, we continue to chop. If it was up to me, if I was pushing the buttons behind the market, if I was the machine behind it all, what I'll do is this: I'll continue to chop this, and then tomorrow, half day, right? Chop, 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 go into all-time highs, maybe dump, and then on Monday, gap down. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if they do that kind of maneuver. A lot of things need to take place before then, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to push into all-time highs. Tomorrow is a short day, push it into all-time highs right before the holidays, and then on Monday, over the weekend, futures open up, we gap down, and people get trapped. All right, so as long as we stay above that 615, I'll stick to that line of thinking. So when we drop down to the 5, this is what's going on. Okay, so we're basically bouncing right off of that weekly upside breaker and that quarterly open. Weekly upside breaker, quarterly open, and that pre-market low are all here. So if we come back into this territory once again, guess what? I'm gonna look to take that bounce to the upside. So this going into today, the objective is just waiting for those key levels. Keeping the entries as close as possible with those key levels. So this territory, as long as we stay above that J30 50% retrace, I'm looking to ride this thing to the upside. If we slice right below it, continue to sell off, then we can look for that retrace reject. So right off the bat, that gives us a nice little thin, skinny zone, but a zone nonetheless. 3 key levels converging there. That daily downside breaker is at that 615.52. Daily upside breaker 618.83. Daily upside target is that quarterly upside breaker, monthly upside breaker, and that all-time high at that 619.22. PMH, right? We're starting to see some discrepancy between the PMHs depending on the platform you're using, or even if you're using the same platform, we're seeing some discrepancy. So the PMH that I'm seeing from my side is at 618.79. If you want to mark both, you can, but you're probably looking at the London. If you're looking at the London PMH instead of the Asian PMH, go to 8 o'clock, right here. Okay, so that would be right here. That would be the 618.12 would be your PMH if you're counting London. So I'm counting the entirety of the sessions. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so that's basically the rationale I'm looking at, guys. That's basically the rationale. Make sure to like the video on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Good morning. Good morning, Nico. Good morning, Louder. Good morning, Walter. Good morning, Louder. All right, so let us know if where you're joining from. And that's basically the rationale. Let's jump into the VIX. VIX. So VIX is above 17. VIX is above 17, continues to pursue that 1748. Okay, so for me to really start thinking that we're going to break down, so let's say this: if the VIX continues to hang out, let's lay it out like this. If the VIX continues to hang out in this territory and eventually pushes into that territory, as VIX is hanging out, if SPY is pulling back slowly, is near session lows, and starts gravitating towards that 615, and VIX starts climbing into the zone here and explodes out of there, we can see that 615 breakdown. If the VIX kind of hangs out here, comes into this territory, SPY is near that 615 territory, and an aggressive rejects, we can see an aggressive bounce off that 615. Right, so that setup is waiting for us. Okay, that's a setup that might take a little bit of time to unfold, but keep that one in the back of your mind. But as far as scalps are concerned, right, we have session highs up at that 1737. Right, we have that 17. So between 1737 and 17, let's see what kind of activity we get. If we chop around, here, we'll probably just chop around on SPY as well. But for us to make any significant move in either direction, we need a reaction off of the zone. We need a reaction off that 17. So, okay, 17 and 1748 are going to be the areas where we want those reactions for us to really see a significant move on the hourly. All right, and we kind of see we're doing this as well, so we'll pay attention to that. We'll pay attention to that. You should be in now, Vince. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lynn. So again, today's the last full day of trading. Tomorrow's a half day. Okay, this week just take it easy, take it slow, ease your way into the month, ease your way into the quarter. That PML has been on fire. So if it presents itself today, I like the PML because it has so much confluence, and I know where that measured risk would be. We can take advantage of that. It looks like we're going to gap down at the open, slight gap down. So we'll monitor that as well. See. Yeah, so again, guys, going into today, what happened yesterday stays in yesterday. What happens today stays in today. Let's look for the best setups, best opportunities, high quality setups. I know it's frustrating. We want the trend, but we can't force something we want onto the market. We'll just take what it gives. I will take what it gives. We'll continue to track our trades. If you're joining us yesterday, we took 5 trades, right? 5 trades yesterday, and this was the result. So today I'll look to take 5, right? I'll try to keep it within 5. So when you do that, when you put self-restraint, you limit yourself, you automatically start seeking quality over quantity. So again, I'll look to take those setups. I'll look for that setup down here, retrace rejects, whatever presents itself, I'll look to take advantage of. To open things up, we'll be down on the weekly. We'll open up near that, below that weekly open. But you can see right off that quarterly open, we're bouncing. All right, so let me know if you have any questions, any ticker symbols you want to go over. Actually, I did want to go over CRWV. I did do some digging on this ticker. Let's see if we can cover this in 30 seconds before the open. Right, so what I was primarily paying attention to on CRWV, right, the option spreads, horrible. Right, horrible. You might as well just buy shares, right? So CRWV, we're seeing a lot of volume in the premium on 17-day DTEs. We're probably seeing participants trying to engage here, off of this level here, off of the zone for a bounce. Right? Do I need to engage? No. I just want to see how it plays out, if it does coincide with the idea of the 17-day DTEs. All right, so we'll pay close attention to that, how that plays out. Okay, so we're 5 seconds out, guys. Put your game plans in the chat. I'll go over SoFi Artem. Put the game plan in the chat and look to capitalize off the best opportunity. So we're opening up here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday, July 2nd. Second trading day of the quarter, second trading day of the month. We're opening up below that weekly open. So the question becomes now, do we have enough fuel? Do we have enough fuel from the pre-market? All right. After this bounce here, do we have enough fuel from the pre-market to reclaim that weekly upside breaker, to get back above previous day close, 617.65, and potentially push into PMH? That's the question. That's the question at hand. Again, if we take a look at the hourly, we're inside. We're inside the majority of the range. If we take a look at ES, what ES essentially did was it just came into let me do this. Right, it just came with that weekly upside breaker, grabbed 8 session lows, rejecting off that. That's all it did. So it's that session lows. Session lows. Qs bouncing off that daily downside breaker. We'll monitor Qs here. So we're on under VWAP 1. Or we're right at VWAP 1, under VWAP 2. Do see an early breakdown potentially taking place there. If the VIX can break out here. VIX breakout, SPY breakdown. VIX breakout, SPY breakdown. Rejection off VWAP 1 and VWAP 2. Good morning, High Achievers Media. So it looks like YouTube is starting to give people rank. These are the comments in the chat. Nice rejection there. We're pushing our way into that weekly downside breaker. I'm looking to take this bounce off PML. About 41-cent risk. So let price settle once it gets into that territory. And I'll look to take that because we have 3 key levels and I have that J30 50% retrace as the risk. So the logic will be like this. Into daily 50% retrace. That's close to 2 to 1. Close to 2 to 1. That'll be the first idea there. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Vince. UNH. Anyone playing this breakdown here? Orb Army. Let's make sure our orb is on. VIX starting to break down here rather than break out. If that's the case, reclaim on the table. Weekly open reclaim. But don't forget where we are, guys. Don't forget context. Context means everything. Look, we're in the middle of the range on the hourly. We're testing that 50. We have not tested that 50 yet, actually. Right, if we can come with that 50, 615.87, we can have a response off of that. Potential looks a little flaggy there. Upward compression right under the VWAP. So I'm looking at the $6.16s. So how are we looking, guys? Dr. Jones, JB. Yeah, you got. I was going through the chat this morning. I usually wake up at 5:30, so I was going through it. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of action. That's why I want to get the futures going, guys. Especially with moves like this, we can capitalize off of it. It doesn't hurt to have it. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Walmart, WMT. So whenever the market pulls back, whenever tech pulls back, whenever consumer staples pull back, guess what ticks up? Consumer discretionary pulls back, staples. So staples, associate that with safety. Okay, safety. Whenever there's a pullback in the market, it's almost like the bulls want to take cover. So they take cover in consumer staples. They rotate from consumer discretionary to consumer staples. Whenever there's a potential rally incoming or a rally brewing, we can see the rotation out of staples into discretionary. Let's see what we got across the board. Nice bounce on NVIDIA. AVGO, Broadcom bounce. Look at that wick. Look at that wick on Tesla. And NVIDIA, monster bounce on NVIDIA. A $4 bounce on NVIDIA. Take a look at IWM. IWM is testing that weekly upside breaker. So if I was trading IWM, this is when I'll do this. I'll give it into the 20. Potential push back into that weekly upside breaker. First target would be 218.01. So IWM, potential bounce off that weekly upside breaker if you can get some sort of confirmation on the lower time frame. Maybe a 5-minute combination. Right? If it falls below that 20, it gets invalidated. So the Dow is dumping. SPY's inside. Qs are showing a little bit of strength. The VIX is starting to push higher. So let's see if IWM can bounce here. The risk below that 20. So with these bounce setups, oil is starting to go. With these bounce setups, right? You're literally buying low, selling high. Nice bounce on the Qs off that 544.68. SPY's not doing much here. So the main thing is, team, we don't want to get caught up in this. The first handful of minutes. We don't want to get caught up in that. Not only does it take actual capital, it takes mental capital as well. The mental capital is the main thing. So what were the tickers you wanted to go over? We said United Health, SoFi. Make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. Like the video, like the video, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't. If we can get 40 likes, I'll try to extend the stream if the action picks up. We're starting to see the action pick up a little bit after 1 o'clock. So if that does take place, guys, if we get 40 likes before 1 o'clock, we will extend based on what the market is doing. Just because we go longer doesn't mean you need to continue to trade. Once you hit your goal, you're done. All right? Once you hit the goal, you're done. Qs are starting to bounce here. See if we can reclaim VWAP 2. First 5 minutes to kick off, it went sell block. Aggressive rejection off of weekly open. If the VIX continues to show a weakness, if it can get below, if it can kind of break down here. It couldn't break out. If it breaks down here, I guess below 1725, maybe a nice little reclaim of 617.39 into 617.65 and beyond. Weekly open reclaim. Potentially brewing if the VIX shows strength. Weakness. Target's starting to pick up. All right, potential reclaim here, guys. Potential reclaim here. The orb, 5 more minutes for the orb. Risk can be VWAP. Again, don't feel pressure to take any trades. These are just trade ideas. You have to trade your plan your trade. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. If it makes sense, do your due diligence, align it with the things you look for, allocate, and manage risk. See if we can close above 617.12. If we can close above 617.12, which is VWAP 2, we'll have a little bit of confidence to see if we can at least see a little runway, a little scalp opportunity to that previous day close, and if it has enough room into that daily upside breaker, right? But we need to close above 617.12. We need to close above that, and we need a complete breakdown, not a complete breakdown, but a continued breakdown on the VIX here. If you can stay below the dotted line and continue to decline, that'd be good. So stay below the dotted line, continue to decline. We have a nice potential reclaim brewing. 10 o'clock, we do have crude oil inventories. Orb will be set in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, the orb will be set. So if you wait for the orb, team. All right, wait for the orb. Okay, I like how the VIX is dumping here. See if you can break above 617.39 for that weekly upside breaker reclaim, a weekly open reclaim with aggression. I want to break with aggression. Okay, see if you can continue to push here. The risk will be back below VWAP. Trying to be a little patient. So this setup, I'm going to wait for this setup throughout the day. So this setup is just anytime it comes here, I'm going to take it. Just with some price action combination, we'll take it. So this can be for another time if we don't come into these lows. I'll be looking for the orb on SPY and IWM to determine the best opportunity for me. Great job. So you can use the orb. I can turn on the orb for all these names if you like. You can put the orb so we're bouncing off that weekly upside breaker on the IWM. You can see that little bounce. On the arrow, it doesn't look significant, but if you drop down, you can see a little bounce. About a 30-cent bounce. Okay, so no reclaim, no setup, no trade. So good morning everyone on YouTube. Make sure to like the video. How are we looking, guys? Anyone take any trades? Or are we just staying patient? So the orb will be set. The orb is set. Orb high 617.49, orb low 616.62. Okay. So orb high. You got to see a little clearer. Orb low. There you go. So that orb high break should be 62. It's going to be associated with that reclaim. You can go 50 or 49. So if you're trading the orb, it's starting to come in here. Okay, that reclaim is incoming. I'm going to take it right there for that reclaim. See how you filled? Okay, filled. So I'm in for the reclaim of that weekly upside breaker that coincides with the orb. My risk is 617.17. So up 4. See if you get that continued push higher here. Take profits where you need to if you need to. All right, scale it where you need to. See if you get that continued push. Did see 6. Nice little retest over there. See if you can hold. I want the VIX to continue to dump. Up 11. 12. I'm gonna close it right there for 12. Filled at 14, the whole position. Closing the whole position at 14. There we go. So nice reclaim. Reclaim lines up with the orb. First trade. Worked in our favor. Close the entire position 14. Anyone take that? So by default, if you take the orb, you take this. If you take that reclaim. So the times I like the orb is when it coincides with my key levels. All right, so orb army, if you took this, if you took the initial break, right, if you took the initial break, you're in. If you're waiting for that retest, wait for that retest. A systematic way to approach it, if you want to widen your risk, if you want to see this thing has legs behind it, is you can do a 50% retrace on the orb. Then do that. If you like to sit through positions, if you like the orb, you like to sit through positions, measure your risk, 50% retrace the orb. If it's a tight orb, if it's within the ATR, is valid. All right. So I already extracted 14 out of that for the first trade. Full position. In and out. How are we looking, guys? How are we looking? Yeah, Qs are gone. None. VIX dropping. Q flying. Took it. Beautiful. 8% gain. Beautiful. Good job, guys. So I'm just scalping 14. What I'm going to do is, since we're chopping around and nothing is really sustained, I'm going to close a full position. What I'm starting to see is I'm leaving a lot on the table by trying to chase the runners. So runners are ideal for trends, especially for my case. So I'll start using the runners for trend days because I can always re-engage. So I'll start going full position instead of trying to mess with the runners. All right. So first trade worked in our favor for that reclaim, coincides with the orb. Orb was at 1649. We talked about this reclaim pretty early on. We got that breakdown below that dotted line. Remember what we said, right? We want to drop below that dotted line for the decline, reclaim. So this is that retest right there. If you're trading that retest, that's your entry. Your risk can be 617, which is that 50% retrace on the daily, or you can use that VWAP as well. You can use the VWAP as your risk. No trades yet. All right, so first trade here. Let's go over here. 14. So calls. Where's I should have reclaim. I should have reclaim here. Retest bounce. Yeah, there we go. It's right there. Reclaim. Full. Under 5 minutes. Green. Weekly open. Lined with 15-minute orb. 15-minute orb. VIX. Dump. Nothing yet. So 8%. Okay. Member IDs. Okay. So in this case, the orb army for the break. So now, next trade I'm taking half size. I'm sizing down. So this trade is still valid. This trade is still valid if you're looking for that retest, right? You maybe got entered here. So as long as we don't violate those lows, if you go back to here, this is a little cleaner. Right, this is what it looks like. Let me put this full screen. Only thing working against this is a potential breakdown here. Potential breakdown there. Okay. So we're kind of just stuck up there. Right there. And let me drag over the weekly open. Let me drag over the weekly open and put it here. So you can see the weekly open. The reason why I was able to get double digits and get it into the orb is because the weekly open, right, it was slightly below it. See if you go like that. So we're testing that weekly open here. See if we go downward compression or flag out of there. Continue to push. We do have an M1/5 here. Anyone take that? Or anyone babysitting this position? That weekly open is strong. That weekly open is very strong. Look at that nasty wick on Tesla. We're seeing a spike. We're seeing a little spike on some names picking up the pace. We want to be honest, I wanted a better reaction off of this. This nice push to the downside, this 12-cent move, should have garnered a larger move here, but see if we can continue to drop on the VIX as we approach 17. If we come into 17, okay, if we come into 17 and we aggressively bounce off 17, we can see a pullback, potentially into session lows or this territory here for our second trade. If we come into 17, we slice right through that 17, we're going to see a potential gravitation towards that PMH. Right, so that 17 will be critical. As we approach that 17, what's going to take place? The Qs are strong. Qs are above the 50% retrace on the daily, above that 547.71. Now we're just stagnant. Look at the piano keys. Look at the piano keys right there. So we're above VWAP, we're above VWAP 1, VWAP 2, both VWAPs. As long as it can hang out there above that weekly open, above VWAP 1, right, VIX can continue to work its way into 17. I like it for it to continue to push the upside. Once we get back below VWAP 1, close below VWAP 2, right, we can start potentially fulfilling this breakdown here. All right, so very, very critical juncture right there at this particular moment. If anyone's playing that breakdown, or is anyone playing that breakdown or pursuing that breakdown? We're on the verge. We're on the verge. So let me take this off. Critical juncture. That's what you want. You want to be participating in a critical juncture. Because if it goes your way, it goes. If it goes against you, get invalidated. All right. I prefer to be long or short here than in the middle. Because if it goes my way, it goes. If it doesn't, I get invalidated. And I get invalidated fairly quickly. And call, exit from call. Any bulls in any bears in the chat? Any bears? retrace reject if you're a bear, or breakdown if you're a bear. And you can do the opposite. Starting to break down. See if you can hold below VWAP 2. Into session lows, that will give you about 1 to 2. Crude oil inventories in 3 minutes, and you want to take that retrace reject on VWAP, retrace reject into, you can take it into PML. See if we can get a close below VWAP 2. Crude oil inventories in 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So this is what it looks like. So for us to really put a dent on this trend, this uptrend, to kick things off, we need to get below these lows here. This would be that low we need to seek. So in this case, if you trade the orb, you're probably able to squeeze something out of it off the break. If you want that continued expansion retest, nothing there. See if we can go shooter here and push into these lows here. So the second setup I'm waiting for is down here. So I want this breakdown. I want this breakdown to be a feeder into the level I'm looking to pursue for the next setup. Okay, so I encourage some weakness. We're still inside on the hourly. Inside on the hourly. We're yet to be directional. If this 50 can trail into this zone, right, that'll be an A++ setup for me. If this hourly 50 can work its way into this zone, that'll be an A++ setup for me. Okay, okay, nope, in and out. For this guy until trend sell, absolutely. Messy area for the EMAs, yep. So you guys know that I don't even have my EMAs on. The reason I don't have my EMAs on is because there's no trend. It's only gonna get me confused. All right, it's gonna be mess. The hourly EMAs are being respected. So keep in mind, on the hourly, we have yet to test. We have yet to test the 50. We have yet to test the 50 on the hourly. So good morning, everyone on YouTube. If you're just joining us, we just took this trade live. We're able to squeeze 14%, no runners. That was the first trade idea. Initially talking about the reclaim played out. The VIX is kind of just hanging out here. See if you can hold above. So that was a retest of the VWAP 2. Retest of the VWAP 2, no close below VWAP 2. So if you only have one VWAP under your chart, on your chart, right, you can easily say, hey, we got to close below VWAP. Let me go short. But we didn't get it close below VWAP 2. So there's two VWAPs. Two of everything. Two of everything. Target is starting to move. We'll take a look at SoFi. So if you have any ticker requests, put in the chat. We'll take a look at SoFi. We'll take a look at Target, United Health, and about right after crude oil inventories. So crude oil inventories, yellow folder catalyst just dropped. Oh, 10:30. It's at 10:30. Crude oil inventories at 10:30. So we're at mirror session highs above that weekly open. So we're just grinding higher. The only way for you to withstand this, right, if we said like the earlier, the 50% retrace of the orb, that's the only way for you to really withstand. If you're trading the orb, that's the only way for you to withstand it. If your risk was all the way at that 50% retrace, which is about 44 cents. Outside of that, if you did take the orb, you probably got stopped out. Unless you were able to quickly scalp this. That's stopped out. See if we can take out those highs there. So no lower low. So we made this low. So we see we got a low, we got a higher low, we got a higher low. We got a high, we got a higher high. So let's see if we seek another high, a higher high here. We're on the verge. We are on the verge. %50 retrace, VWAP bounce. VIX starting to push the downside. How are we doing on YouTube, guys? Traders on YouTube, we're directional on the hourly. We're directional on the hourly. We just went 2-1-2 reversal on the hourly. Qs are pumping on the hourly. See if the VIX can continue to slide to the downside. We're taking out those session highs. Weekly open retest. As the VIX continues to push. Or as the VIX continues to dump. If we come back into that 617.49, which is the orb, going back to this chart. See if we can get that retest. So we took out session highs. We took out session highs. There we go. Continue to push here. Head and shoulder on the 5 and the 15. So orb retest 617.50. 617.50, 617.49. If you want that retest, the question you have to ask yourself is, where's my risk? At this level, 10-cent risk. Here, where's your risk? Starting to push here. Starting to push. There we go. See if we can respect the integrity of this channel. Waiting for that retest. Got a nice break right there, JB. In call. You're in call, Vincott. Great job. Great job, great job, great job. Let's get the likes up on YouTube, guys. Hit the like button. If you're a first-time viewer, let us know where you're joining from. If you're a first-time viewer, let us know where you're joining from. That these highs align with that previous day close. There we go. So shallow retracement, previous day close, previous highs up here. Anyone catch that? Or anyone in that position? Beautiful job, Carla. Shallow retracement, previous day close. If we continue to move nicely, I'll throw the EMAs on. In and holding. Great job, JB. Great job, guys. Healthy pullback, weekly open. Weekly open retest. So we need the VIX to continue to start pursuing that 17. Okay, continue to work its way into 17, 12% profit. Beautiful job, Carlos. Pursue that 17. As long as you mark out your risk, you're willing to sit through it a little bit. If you want to buy yourself more time, further dated contracts. Further dated contracts will be the best bet. Wisconsin here. Good morning, Dr. Martin. So again, guys, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And join the Discord. Use the code NEW. That expires at the end of the week. Use the code NEW. Next week is the first official week of July. This is kind of an in-between week. So next week we'll have futures in here. We'll have everything you need. All right, so we're a growing community. We're a thriving community. We have a ton of people in our community dedicated to the process, you can see. All right, all taking trades, all making decisions, all collaborating, all working together. So we're truly a team. All right, we're truly approaching this from a tribal standpoint. Okay, we're truly like a tribe. All right, we all have the same objective: is to go hunting. Sometimes you go hunting, sometimes you come home with nothing. Some days you come home with a moose, right? But the main thing is you come back home. No zero DTEs for me. Smart. Great job, VIX. %12% with that call. Beautiful job, Jorge. Let's take a look at SPY. So it's at the top of this channel here. The top of that channel. So typically when we see a pattern like this, for all my people who like to trade the patterns, the pattern ends up leading to a certain point where it breaks down. It continues to squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then it collapses. So this trend is intact as long as these lows don't get violated. All right, so don't fall in love too much with the pattern. Just monitor the trend. Okay? Monitor the trend. The IV is very low. But the contracts did move nicely though. The contracts, when I was in the trade, they were moving pretty good. We're at 47 cents. 47 cents on the ATR. We need to break down here on the VIX, continue to push to the downside. Qs are beautiful bounce on the Qs. Beautiful bounce on the Qs. Qs have a chance of going 3 up. Qs have a chance of going 3 up. Keep in mind yesterday we went inside on SPY. We didn't take out that high, we didn't take out that low on the daily. Let's throw our EMAs on now. As you can see, they're still trying to cross over. So let them sort themselves out. And the thing is, anytime we're trading above 615, right, we're just a few points away from making an all-time high. So this has room, guys. This has room into 17. Once it goes into 17, evaluate your position. Okay, let's see if it can continue to trail. If it slices right through It slices right through 17. Right. And this thing can continue to push into PMH. And that PMH is very close to that daily upside breaker. So if we take a look at this, not only is that a daily upside breaker, but we do have some pushback off that level. So first touch, second touch, third touch. Okay. The initial response in this level is rejection. So if we come into it slowly, we start showing weakness. Okay. We might respond the same way. If we blast past it, retest into all-time highs. So very, very critical. VIX is approaching 17. Yep, it's working its way to 17. So this is the move that we were talking about on the VIX. First, the pump. Right, initially, if you recall, I wanted that dump into PML. Once again, if we can break out. If we can break out, I want that dump. No breakout. Identified this level, and we took advantage of that breakdown as SPY reclaimed that weekly open. So this is what's giving us all the fuel. So the moves are taking place in pre-market. So in this move, we can take advantage of that in futures and just let it ride. Right? In futures, you can let it ride because that's a level that we're paying attention to. 3 levels converging, and that quarterly open is a powerful level. Weekly upside breaker is a powerful level. PML has been a powerful level. Right? In recent history, PML has been a powerful, powerful level. So 3 powerful levels coming together. All right. So make sure you're taking profits where you need to, guys. Take profits where you need to. Manage your positions. NVIDIA is above that 150. Look at Meta, came close to that zone. Google is starting to push. Google 177.22, 177.25, 20 to 25 retest. This is what could happen. Pivot support 1. Chop around. Very possible. Great job, Elaine. Keep in mind, guys, our job is allocate, manage risk. Our job is not to be analyst. We are not analysts. We are traders. It's good to be, sometimes we can fall in love with the analysis. All right. But our job is to trade, AKA manage risk, allocate risk, manage positions. All right. So sometimes if we do too much, I fall victim to it too. I do too much analysis. Too much analysis. Okay, we're at that 17. We're at that 17, guys. So if you need prices, slice through 17. Slice through 17 with minimal interruptions. If we can do that, we have a good runway into 618.79, 618.83. So minimal interruptions at 17. Got a little SPY position up 10%. Let's see what it does. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. $608, 15 minutes while on vacay. Can't beat trading. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. There's nothing better, or there's no profession in which you can completely integrate into your lifestyle seamlessly other than trading. Everything else, you're going to have to make that thing a lifestyle and build your life around it. With trading, of course, in the beginning, the journey of a trader in the beginning is trading becomes your life, and eventually trading becomes a part of your life. In the beginning, when you're in that depending on how much information you're consuming and how quickly you're learning, if you're in that 1 to 3 year territory, trading is going to become your life. If you really, because you're going to fall in love with the game. Okay? It's going to take a lot of time away from everything else you do. But over time, right, over time, once you put in your hours, it just becomes a small piece of your life. It becomes a small piece. So I want us to continue to slice through 17. Slice through 17 with minimal hesitation. Work our way to 1684. That gives us the green light to push into PMH. That gives us the green light to push into PMH. So right now we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. All right? We're in no man's land. We're in the void. What do I always say? Avoid the void. It's either you're in already or you're not. The train has left the station. See if you get that close below 17, continue to push. Qs are on a tear. Qs are on a tear. So Qs have a chance of going 3 up. Qs are pursuing that 550. See if the Qs can clear these highs here. 548.74. You think SPY will hit overnight high? My approach is as long as we're above that weekly open, there's a 60 to 70% chance we go to PMH. Okay? If we're above weekly open and SPY can stay below 17, there's a good chance we can hit PMH or overnight high. If we get back above 17, we start bouncing off 17, and we get back below weekly open, right? That might be on hold for another shift, right? But just take it shift by shift. It's very difficult for us to lay out an analysis for an entire day because there's so much things that can happen. So try to have your analysis or your breakdowns or your targets for within this shift. So going into the next shift, have another idea. Right, because so many things can happen from the time it opens to the time it closes. Out on my first batch of 620s, we'll watch for a few red candles to reload 620 again. Wednesday, July 22nd. Out 20%. Beautiful job, JB. %, with 1-day DTEs. I would say a 20% move is probably that reclaim. If you got that reclaim here into here, that's probably 20%. With 0-day DTEs, if you got that reclaim from here to here, that's easily 40 to 60%. All right. Okay, we're starting to slice right through that level. Great job, JB. Great job, Fido. So this is where we are. It looks like we're kind of hitting a little exhaustion. All right, so exhaustion here. We can see that orb here. So I draw a nice and clean chart. So no distractions. All you see is the price. So came into the orb, chopped around, broke, came back above it, retested, it continues to push, and we're at the top end of the channel. As we're at the top end of the channel, right? Is this signs of exhaustion? Could be. So the next level that stands out to me is right here. All right, so right there. So as the channel continues to tighten, if we can come into here, get some sort of price action combination for a shallow retracement, bounce, I can entertain that. But outside of that, there's nothing. As it's you have to be already in. All right, you have to already be in. 1 day DTE 10-minute trend starting. Maybe one of these weeks, or maybe one of these weekends, we'll get together and open up the floor to everyone share their strategy. So I think a lot of people are doing a lot of cool things, right? So we'll open up the floor, just kind of just have an open table discussion. Everyone just share strategy. Iron sharpens iron type of session. You think spiral overnight highs? Good morning everyone on YouTube. Let's get the likes up if you're just joining us. We did take one trade for a nice 14% pop. We did see SPY right out the gate, not even a gap down, but we opened up below that weekly open, continue to push higher, bounce off that 50% retrace, VIX continues to dump, and now we're on a hot pursuit into that pre-market high, overnight high. Qs are on a tear. SPY continues to push. VIX is below 17. VIX is below 17, it's at 1694. So all you need now, this can be a slow grind up as long as we stay below 17. Okay? As long as we stay below 17, we have room into 1660, 1684. Apple double top, Pepsi breakdown. Let's go back to our chart here. NVIDIA's on a tear. 155 retest bounce on NVIDIA. Google is coming back at that 177.21. You can take that retest bounce. So everything is essentially back above the 50 EMA on the hourly. Apple is the only one. The only one that's kind of pushing higher on the as far as the trend is concerned. It's working its way. So Apple, between that 210.90, 210.20, PMH and daily upside breaker. See if you can retest that. This territory. Is that the VIX? Look at this climb. Look at that climb. This thing continues to climb. Nice buy block candle, nice engulfing candle on the 5. If you're waiting for that 9 EMA on the 5, 617.71. 617.71. So it's kind of lining up with this. This would be the 9 EMA territory here. Who's riding this in the chat? I know retired Fido's in. I think a couple of you are in a runner. Great job, Thesis. This is what you were waiting for, right, Doctor? That nice trend higher. Great job. So no runner for me today. So the day I don't have a runner, this thing runs. I'm talking about, hey, you know what? I'm going to take full position here, 14%, no runner today, and then it just takes off. And that's probably the first time out of the 78 episodes that I haven't had a runner on a position. This thing is going. VIX is dumping. This thing is going. There you go, guys. That was a nice candle right there. Aggressive buying. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. So keep in mind as we're at that 1684 on the VIX. So we went from this point to this point. So if we start bouncing off 1684, if we tick into that PMH, we can't see an initial response to the downside. So I want to bring this to your attention. This PMH, our previous interaction with that PMH and that daily upside breaker, right? Let me open this up. Look at the previous interaction. So our initial interaction, when we get into it, if we don't blast past it, automatically I'm leaning 60-40 to the downside. Okay, 60-40 to the downside. If we blast past it, that's even better because we can use it as a retest into all-time highs. We have that beautiful runway right here from 618.83 into 619.22. We break above that, nice runway. So initially I'll go 60-40 to the downside because of our previous interaction. If we blast past it, retest would be beautiful because this is where we're fueled off of. Look at the fuel. We rocket fueled off of this level. Rocket fuel off that level. In one contract, pretending it's a runner up 9%, 25%, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Great job, guys. My SPY position's up 22%. Good morning, Amy. Crazy spike, still holding. Great job, Louder. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Hopefully. Look at the Qs. Qs are gone. ADP, no problem. Ugly ADP, no problem. All right. Double miss on the ADP, no problem. The levels were here for the Qs. Okay, so I'm going to send this in the Discord for tools. All this will be updated. When futures are available, I'll also include the futures as well. Look at this. So much for the channel. Complete break out of that channel. So in this case, I'm looking for some sort of pullback. The top end of that channel has been broken. Yeah, so remember the rationale laid out, Louder? If we can stay above daily open, weekly open, the VIX can stay below 17. We have a good shot at getting into PMH. So this is where this is stemming from. VIX Qs are approaching that 550. Qs have a ton of strength. So if you look on the hourly, you can clearly see, right? You can clearly see there's a lot of resistance up here. We can clearly see we haven't had a candle close up above this territory. So if we can get an hourly candle above here, that would be great. So by default, 60-40 resistance, unless proven otherwise. Unless proven otherwise, the VIX continues to trail, to dump. So this thing actually might break. So first shift is done, guys. First shift, make your annotations for first shift. I know price is moving. So how many trades did you take during first shift? What was the result? Are you green? Are you red? Are you yellow? Did you follow the plan? And did you not take any trades? Let me know in the chat. All right, now second shift is underway. I only took one trade during first shift. Nice 14% pop for a quick scalp. So I'm looking for a second opportunity here. And it's going to be tied to this zone up here. If we can hold above that territory, right, I'll look for that retest. Because of the amount of strength that we're seeing in the market and what the VIX is doing, I'll look for that retest. If you're looking to go short, the rationale, if you want resistance to be resistance, that might be a little wide, 50 cents, but that would lead you to 50 cents, and that can be a dump into that 9, which is about a 1.5 to 1. Right, but the amount of strength I'm seeing on the momentum here, we're riding the EMAs, right? You can see how we're riding the EMAs, and there's a clear trend. We're riding those EMAs. Tezzy's out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Everything's out of here. Look at Apple. I'm still trying to figure out this wick from yesterday's pre-market session. It's about a 10-point wick. All right, let's see. So my approach is if we break past that, I want to hold and a retest. 3 trades, 3 green. Beautiful job, Elaine. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. How are we looking, team? 1 red, 2 green equals green. Look at HRE volume at the green candle. Let's take a look at HRE. So we're in second shift now. Look at the amount of work that we did here once we reclaim that weekly open. Let's go revisit the VIX. Okay, so the VIX at previous day close. The VIX continues to hold below previous day close. We have into session lows. If we get a temporary bounce off previous day close, we can reject off of that PMH and that daily upside breaker. If we want that continued push higher, we need to continue to slice right through this level. Okay, if we can do that, we slice right through this, continue to push. We have a good chance of, during this runway, we have a good chance of making all-time highs. So now, all-time highs are on the table. On the Qs, if you're looking for a retest on the Qs, 548.70 in pursuit of that 550, about a 30-cent runway. $760 total profit and out of buying power. Beautiful job, Louder. Tomorrow will be a great, absolutely. So we're grabbing first shift highs. First shift highs. We do have this buy block here. So in this case, I'm looking for some sort of pullback. So I'm inviting some selling. All right? Because this thing looks like it wants to continue to run. If we continue to run, this is the risk into all-time highs. So first shift's highs or that 9 EMA into all-time highs. Looking at the 618s here. See if you can get a close on the 5 above it. Who's still in the runner? What's the tick at, guys? Beautiful job, Lynn. On call, great job, Taco. See if you get that push here. VIX continues to head to the downside. If we can at least retest this 9 EMA. Again, I'm using half size in this position. $500 has been tied around 0. This is critical here. Now look at the VIX now. VIX is starting to bounce a little bit here. For my 9 EMA, that 5-minute 9 EMA traders, aka 50 EMA, it's in this territory. Shallow, very shallow pullback. Very shallow pullback. Up there. If we break below these highs, we can see a potential temporary rejection and go resistance. So it looks like we're rejecting here. So we need to close above 618.83. 618.83. Look at the Qs. Qs are approaching 550. VIX is starting to bounce here. I want to close above it. Close above that territory. If we can close above it, retest it. We'll use second shift highs as my risk. VIX is back to the downside. VIX has continued to trail to the downside. So this setup, this thing can start picking up now. Can start picking up some speed. Can start picking up some speed. Okay. See if we can pull back a little bit for that retest. If there's no retest, so you get a small retest here into all-time highs. So I have the levels marked out too, guys. So we have more levels up there. So once we get into all-time highs, although we're in the middle of nowhere, we do have some levels to mess with as well. All right, so no concerns there. No concerns there. So in since 10 a.m. Great job, Taco. My MFI money flow index hit 80. Money still coming in. 10 minutes before you. Great job, Carla. Trying to get this retest here. Nice little retest. My entry was around 618 level, still in. Still in, still in, still in to win. At least come and test that 9. On the 1. Remember, guys, all-time highs. 619.22. Not only all-time highs. That's the monthly upside breaker. That's that quarterly upside breaker. So this 5-minute candle has about 50 seconds left. That was a retest right there. Beautiful job. So the trend traders are waiting for this. Trend traders. Great job, guys. Great job. Just know if you're buying calls up here, you're paying a premium. Just know that you're paying a premium. All right, the VIX is quickly approaching this dotted line. If you can slice through that dotted line, it can continue to decline. Take that bounce there. Okay. Risk will be first shifts highs in the position here. See if I can get that push into all-time highs. Nice little bounce. Using half size. Have room into that dotted line. Beautiful there. Up 7. If you did take that, manage accordingly. What a bounce. I'll take some off right there. At 7. Down to runner. Okay, down to runner. And you want to jump on that. So locked in at 7. Less than 10 seconds. Retest of these highs. Continue to push. I'll hold this runner. See if we can get an all-time high. VIX has room into that dotted line. Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. Up 9. Beautiful retest, right? Retest. Saw very little drawdown. All-time high 619.22. Let's get that all-time high. I'm kind of confused at the moment today on the opening price. Okay, would be my dream 621. Let's see how far away we are. So we need to get. So I want price to stay above that 9 EMA on this runner. Already locked in at 7. So okay, we need to get all the way. It's possible. Very possible. 621.07. That's my next. Above that 620, 621.07 is the next target. So it's very possible. If we can hold above, if we can make all-time highs, hold above that, get into that 620, at that point anything can happen. So the VIX has room into this dotted line. If we break below this dotted line and continue to decline, we're going to continue to climb. All right, so second trade so far. Already locked in at 7. See if I can ride that 9. All right, take care, Louder. Make sure to like the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe and added some puts here. Your risk is all-time highs, Venkat, up 12. If everyone types ATH in the chat, there's a good chance we go to all-time highs within the next 5 minutes. All right, so let's see if we can all push this thing into all-time highs for the runners. See if it works. What if they're listening and they dump it? Well, then we're going to have to say the opposite next time. Up 13. They're always listening. Up 12. So just feel free to take profits where you need to. Okay. What was that? This is just a dump, manipulation, right? Just when I just said they're listening, look at that. Thank goodness that was a runner. Look at that. Look at that. Thank goodness that was a runner. The runner is down 12%. I'm gonna close that runner at 12, 13. Can't even get filled. Can't even get filled with this runner. Can't even get filled with this runner. So the runner is down 17%. Wow, I think they are listening, guys. Then they are listening. So I closed out that runner at minus 17. So the runner was just one contract. Right, but look at that. The VIX didn't do anything. What a dump. So hopefully everyone was in runners. All right, and Carla, they're always listening, I guess. So we're not gonna do that next time. Stopped out with 40% profit. That was crazy candle. Great job. So most of you are in runners. Most of you, I locked in some there. But just to give you an idea, I couldn't even get filled here on that runner to sell it because of the aggressive candle. The aggression. All right, so second trade. It's about 5-10 minutes. Green, half size, bounce, 7%. Nasty, ATH, dump. Look, right on that channel support. SPX will have some more space. So if we break down here, 6% on that bounce. So great job. So for those of you who are taking profits, all right, that's what it protects us against. So the funny thing is, I mean, this is, to me, it's just, if you're using that 9, okay, earlier, what do we say? That buy block and that 9 EMA, right there, we can potentially retest that. So the funny thing is, the one time I do choose to keep the runners, that one runner, all right, this thing dumps. And the one time that I choose not to have runners, this thing pumps. And that's how it is sometimes. So sometimes it's like that. But even though that's happening, if you're taking profit, if you're doing what you need to do, you'll still come out on top. You will still come out on top. I think someone was in puts. Yeah, I think Vincat took the puts. Nice bounce off that buy block. So if you read the book, this is a buy block. Right? And you want to take that bounce there. I mean, in the face of that aggressive selling, this was just a liquidation event. Right? Trapping everyone. And then dumping. Textbook. Look at the volume again as a red candle. Wow. Big Brother's indeed watching. By any chance, anyone take this pull back at that 9? Again, in the face of selling. I'm holding, they won't scare me. It's not easy to hold through that, right? I'm pretty sure she's probably down to a runner. Full position, they'll make me fall out of my chair. And full disclosure, I've been in a position like this where this did happen before. Right into that 9. So I'm going to pull up the page. I'm going to pull up the page in the book. All right, so hopefully you guys are going through the book and understand these concepts on top of the things you already know. So I'll go all the way down to buy block. All right. There's an entire page on buy blocks. 3 ways to engage. All right, the 3 ways to engage whenever there's a buy block. You have the buy block tap, the buy block retrace, and the buy block grab. All right, so when we have additional indicators that help us along with the buy block, so this is what I'm talking about here. So we have the buy block, 3 ways to engage, the grab, the tap, and the retrace. So this was a tap. The top of that buy block. So that means there's a ton of buyers there. They dump this thing all the way there and pump it. And then take it to all-time highs. So no interruption on the hourly. So that was just pure manipulation, pure liquidation. This is basically a stop hunt. Okay, so the market is brutal. Now if you rewind, the VIX didn't go anywhere. There was no spike on the VIX. Now we're at that dotted line. We're few less than 22 cents, less than 15 cents away from all-time highs. So this was $0.88 dump. And our ATR is only 47. So what that means is this takes us about 6 to 8 minutes to make an 88-cent move. It takes us about 6 to 8 minutes to make an 88-cent move. We made that move in 1 minute. Okay. A few traders call that the power of tower candles. Yep. All-time high. There we go. You took the reclaim, retest once again into all-time highs. There you go. This was just a test. Carlos, be careful. Carlos, be careful. Those are 3 dangerous letters. If I have a market order in and would like to put a put stop in, do I stop or stop limit order? Okay, hold on. If I have a market order in and would like to put stop, do I do a stop order? Or a limit order? So you mean if you have a market order as far as when you just execute the trade based on where price is, or you're trying to trade the contract and predefine your entry. So make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. Make sure to subscribe. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we go live every day at 9 a.m. with the most comprehensive pre-market program, followed by live trading. We are seeing some historical activity. We are pennies away from making all-time highs. So for out of the past 4 days, if we make an all-time high today, we'll be 3 for 4. 3 for 4. Okay, 3 for 4. This all-time high not only signifies an all-time high, it also signifies a break of this accumulation. The multi-day accumulation that we've been seeing. Remember this? We laid it out yesterday. This is where we are. So if we take price, this is where we are. This is where we are. Right there. On the cusp. And we're on the cusp. So if you're trying to play that all-time high, just use lotto size, small size. All right, lotto size, small size. Bought long as a market order. I wanted to put a stop loss in case reversal. Do I use stop order? Probably a stop order. So a stop order would be similar to basically a market order. The limit order would be like you're selling the ask. If anyone else can shed light on that contract, please, on that question. Please do. My other broker allowed me to grab the order on the screen and put a stop. Yeah, so sometimes some brokers allow you to do that, some don't. I usually just use a mental stop. And sometimes again, I'm very skeptical. Sometimes the way the contract moves, sometimes there's a random wick. SPY doesn't do anything, but there's a random wick that stops you out. We're probably diverging up here as well. You can see diverging up there. We're running out of fuel up there. If we start bouncing off this dotted line, start pursuing 1684, we might be out of fuel for now. And this might turn into a first shift grab. Yes, that's true. That's true. It's not. You're right. The mental stops, if you have hesitation on pulling the trigger and giving yourself wiggle room, right? If you're not used to it, it's not gonna work out. So you have to have the hard line. If you have a mental stop, there's no compromise. It's almost like you have to have your finger on the trigger. Right? You fire and you have the finger on the trigger to sell. So where are we, guys? We're at the support of this channel. So it looks like we're just climbing in this fashion if we kind of do that. It's more of this channel here. So for us to take out these lows, for us to break this trend or this channel, we need to take out those lows. Take out these lows here. Take out those lows. Once we take out those lows, I don't want horizontal ray. I want 618.21. We got that sell block high here. So as long as we don't violate 618.21, that's the most recent low, the trend is intact. That's the most recent low. So as soon as we make a higher high, that can change. And let me grab the all-time high from there and dump it here. So that's where the all-time high is. We'll make that nice and green. Not only is that the all-time high, that's multiple things, guys. That's that monthly upside breaker, like we reviewed. That's that quarterly upside breaker. That's multiple things. So this sell block is causing a little bit of problems. And we're also diverging up here. So you can see we made this high, we made this high, we made this lower high on the RSI, higher high on SPY. Apparently seems timing doesn't matter. Hey, stop order, okay. Anyone still in the position? Uh, 18% with that call. Great job, Jorge. Did you see? Yeah, I did sell my runner. Just getting caught up with the Google Meets chat. Look at the volume, big brother, absolutely. When you are a live trader, you should sit around and babysit your order once you are in a position. And this way you can react properly, not to react at all if you see forced liquidity grabs. Yeah, I can sit around babysit my position. That's true. But my approach is I'm a scalper at heart. So that's what works best for me. So I want those quick explosive gains quickly, because I can do that multiple times throughout. So the one thing about scalping, right, if you can really get it down, you can trade in any condition, right? And I don't like to sit through too much drawdown. But technically, I can sit through this and just babysit the position. If I were to sit through this, it wouldn't be with a 0 DTE. Okay, so what I probably can do is let the position play out with a further dated contract, hold it to target, and then on top of that, have basically smaller positions, scalp it with the 0 DTEs. So what I mean by that is like this. Let me see if I can explain it. So say we take that break. Okay, say we take that break and it's unfolding on a higher time frame. Okay, open up a multi-day DTE. Okay, so maybe 2 days out. All right, this would be an approach. We get a nice higher time frame break that aligns with the hourly and the 5-minute, 15-minute. The VIX is doing what we want. We have that level carved out. Open that position up, and as it continues to push forward, right, you can within that same position, you can scalp the push higher. You can scalp the bounces into the trend. So 0-day DTEs for trend following. That would be a strategic approach you can implement. Right? So we get that break, especially if it's about to be a trending day. Use further dated contracts, multi-day contracts to catch the entirety of the move. And within the move itself, open and close positions in both ends to capitalize off of the move. So what that means is with the 0 DTEs, you can take the higher highs into higher lows, or you can take the higher lows into higher highs. So you can take puts there. Okay, you can take puts there if you have something that allows you to entertain that. And you can take calls there. Right, again, if you have something that allows you to entertain that, aka setup, while you have this multi-day DTE to catch the whole move. So that would be a more strategic approach, right? A more multi-layered approach than just holding the 0-day DTEs. That is possible, right? Let me know if that makes sense. Starting to get ugly there, triple top. If we can't get past this dotted line and decline, look at the wicks up there. We're riding that 9. Riding that 50. SMH. Look at NVIDIA. There's no stopping NVIDIA, guys. No stopping NVIDIA. NVIDIA went 3 up on the daily. Broadcom, out of here. Qs, inside. Qs are directional. SPYs inside on the hourly. New hourly candle. Qs are absolutely directional. Nice retest of that 550 on the Qs. Okay, VIX is starting to dump here. So we're a few cents away. Yes, 621 day DTE runner, 620 0-day DTE. Just like this trend on the 10. Beautiful. In another trade, my SQQ puts up 16%. Beautiful. Yes, holding. We'll see if we don't break here soon. We're pennies away. Nice retest again right there. We're pennies away from the all-time high. Qs are directional already. If we break above that, if we break above this high, 619.16, we're officially B. Directional on the hourly. Now let's zoom out. Let's zoom out a little bit. So remember this territory. Although we're struggling, it's slow. It went from this to this. Now slowly can turn into support. All right, before it turns into support, it's underway. It's being tested. All right, so we broke past it. That's the PMH, that daily upside breaker. We're directional. We continue to push higher. We got a lot of wicks up there. All-time high right there. QQQ helping drive SPY, absolutely. Qs went 3 up on the daily. Qs went 3 up on the daily. So what's dragging SPY? Guys, look at IWM. Remember the idea that I provided? 217.40, 20 EMA. Look at that bounce. I went to target and beyond. So these strategies you can implement to all these names. Out of here. So for these things, we can use further data contracts. The reason why I like the 0-day DTEs once again is because the quick appreciation. Okay, the quick appreciation, trying to get people trained to trade for less amount of time. All right. And believe it or not, if you're used to 0-day DTEs, when you start trading further day contracts, it's almost like you're learning to swim on the deep end. All right, you're learning to swim in the ocean. So now when you're in a pool, a regular pool, you've been through it all. Absolutely. Let me muck around for a while and head higher. So that daily upside breaker and that PMH is holding up. Daily upside breaker, PMH holding up. We can see IVs very low. We can see ATRs below 60. During first shift, we had a nice push higher. Second shift, we're just kind of bouncing around and on the verge of making all-time highs. On the verge. So how are we looking, guys? How are we looking? Anyone taking any bounces off that daily upside breaker in pursuit of ATH? If you are, you're paying a premium for the contracts, so maybe use less size. We can see the Heikinashi, no interruption since basically 9:45. It says 9:45 on the 5. That's the 15 actually. I'll say since from 10 all the way to 10:35, no interruptions. So let's see if we can string together another 15-20 minutes of a push higher. So we came with that sell block up there, tapped it there. Okay, let's see if we can start compromising this channel. If this channel is compromised. Anyone bearish? Any bears in the chat? Any undercover bears? So if we hammer here on the 5, that can give us a little bit of hope. But if we close below this on the 5, VIX starts to spike here, we can see a temporary pullback. So VWAP is starting to trail in. We have VWAP 1 at 618.06, VWAP 2 at 618 on the dot. 6:18 on the dot. That IWM balance. The only thing holding us up here, guys, is the Dow. If the Dow can pick up the speed, if the Dow can get above that hourly upside breaker, go direction on the hourly, get above that 444.66, and the Qs can kind of just stay where they are, stay directional to the upside. IWM can stay directional to the upside. We can pick up a little bit of speed here on SPY. The question is, if it does pull back, how far does it want to pull back? That's the question at hand. Okay, we went 2 up, 2 down on the 5. Close below 618.85 on our way to 618.30. VIX starts bouncing. So we're outside of this channel now. We're outside of that channel. See if we can get these lows. A little bit of a wide risk. Trying to give it 40 cents. For potential breakdown into 618, that's about 33 cents. Close to a 1-to-1. If you want to all the way back to that initial breakout, that's about a 90-cent target. If you want to push it all the way into the orb, you think this thing is going all the way back to the orb, that's the idea. So we officially broke the channel, starting to break down. Channel is starting to break down here. Once we take out these lows, we will have a lower low. So that'll be the confirmation. That would be the confirmation. Stretch this out, go like that. So close below 618.55. About a 30-cent runway into this low, and then a nice runway back to the downside. So no close so far. So we did take out first shift highs. We're retesting PMH and daily upside breaker. The one thing that's going to support that breakdown, VIX waking up. If VIX wakes up, I can support that breakdown. That's the one thing basically supporting it. So make sure to like the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Let's get the likes up. So just one trade here during second shift. Took small size, majority 7%. Stopped out with the last one, 15 to 17%. After that nasty candle to the downside. So only 2 trades. Right, just by implementing this, you can see the amount of quantity has significantly reduced. All right, the quantity of the trades has significantly reduced. So we're failing to get back above that daily upside breaker. So this is starting to look like more and more like a trap. Right, we just need the VIX to wake up. If you can do that, that'll support it. What would be vicious is an all-time high trap. That would be vicious. All right, we're just basically stuck here, guys. Stuck in this territory. Not much movement. Crushing that premium. Sold my call, waiting for now. One trade so far. Great job, VIX. So it looks like first shift was it. We see that. How many times did we see this, guys? How many times do we see this? First shift we make a pump. Second shift we pause. Third shift we break down or continue. Right, that's the textbook footprint or blueprint that we see take place when we have those trending days. First shift pump, second shift pause. If it continues to trend, third shift pump. Right. Qs are testing at 550. 550 in that weekly upside breaker. About a second 71-cent runway back to the upside. We continue to tighten. So that's that range up to this point. So far in second shift, look how tight that range is. 618.20, 619.16. So about a 90, I'd say a 94-cent range. $0.94 range after this. Significant leg up. After a 2-point push, 2-point range, 90-cent range. So basically half of what we just did. They love to do this, guys. Rinse and repeat. They love to make that move in first shift. Traders miss it. Second shift, they like to chop you up. So answer the poll question on YouTube. The poll question today is, which economic report typically moves the market the most? ADP, ISM, CPI, or the Fed book? You're trying to take it into all-time high event cut. ATH. There goes the Dow. Dow starting to pump. All right. Let's see if we start to move. So if the Dow's starting to move, we just need the Qs to hold above 550. Hold above 550. Hold above this weekly upside breaker. Just hold where it is. And then we can potentially see a push. We can potentially see a push. Nice bounce off 550 on the Dow, on the Qs. Look at that bounce on the Qs. Dow's direction on the hourly. Nice bounce on the Qs. See if we can come back in one more time. Try to scalp it into all-time highs. Keep in mind there's a quadruple top up here. We just need that last piece of the puzzle. 1675 or 1674 breakdown on the VIX. 1674 breakdown on the VIX. See if you got a retest of that daily upside breaker. It's just a breakout here, essentially. That's basically what it is. What we're betting on is a breakout above these highs. Blast past it with minimal hesitation into all-time highs. The Dow's starting to go. So we have the leeway to go. If you don't think we're going to make all-time highs, if you think that's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple top, play it accordingly. If you're not sure, don't touch it. You're still in, Carla? I think a couple of you are still in. Qs are starting to give it up a little bit. So we're hugging that 9. We're hugging that 9 on the 5 minute. A lot of back and forth in this territory. See if we can pull back at that daily upside breaker. Just like a penny shy. If we can pull back into it, I'll take that bounce into all-time highs. Take a small position there. Risk will be these lows. So if we go back and revisit this here. So we're basically taking those all-time highs in the face of that sell block that was previously rejected aggressively. So that breakdown was not confirmed. These lows were not taken out. All right, this thing is starting to go here. See if we can pull back a little bit. We'll have the 618s loaded, small size. VIX is starting to dump. VIX is dumping. So see if I can get one more candle to the downside, a little weak candle here. I'm going to take it right there. I like how the VIX is dumping. So not the best entry, but just trying to take advantage of the dump on the VIX, the strength we're seeing on the Dow, into that all-time high push. We can easily reject here. We can easily reject in that territory, but I'm trusting that push across the market into that all-time high. So using the small position here, up 4%. Like how the VIX is dumping. The Qs are bouncing off of that 550 once again, weekly upside breaker. The SPY is the only thing that's not directional. All the indexes are directional except SPY. So I want price to stay above 618.83. I want price to stay above 618.83. Did have a bit of an early entry. See if you get that push. There's a third trade. Like how the VIX is dumping here. For us to just go continuation on the hourly. Okay, not good on the Qs. Don't want to close below 618.83. Down 4, down 6. See if I can sit through a little bit of the drama. Again, small position here. Look at the wicks up here, guys. Look at all the wicks up here. We essentially can't get past this territory here. Like, we haven't been able to close above this level on the 5. Right, we're coming to this level, but we just 618.95. We just can't pass that level. No close above it. Look at the wicks. Qs are dumping. Not a good sign. My line in the sand is that daily upside breaker. If we break below that, I'll cut the position. I'm gonna cut it right there. Out for 9. Stopped out 9. Stopped out 9. Okay, look at the Qs. Qs are dumping hard. Qs are dumping hard. Let's go back to this. All right, we just basically push into these highs. If we can get back below this failed triple bottom, or if we just get below here, there can be a short opportunity to 618.21. So stopped out here at 9. So look on the 5. We have not been able to close above it. All these wicks up there. Try to take that bounce. Calls. Failed ATH attempt. Everything's starting to pull back. Look, a lot of back and forth here. How are we looking, team? So slow, yes, but we're runners now. Great job. Pep flying. It's stalling, but I have a feeling we'll break highs eventually. The question just becomes, does it have enough liquidity? Qs starting to get back. If the Qs can get back above 550, we have a good shot. This wraps up second shift, guys. Second shift took 2 trades. Stopped out here, 9%. Took profit there, 7. And then stopped out 15 to 17 on that last runner. So that wraps up second shift. So make that note. Make a journal entry. How many trades did you take in second shift? What were the trades? Did they coincide with your plan? Did they not? If we can get a close above this line here, this level right there, that'll be the first close we got above it. It looks like it's accumulating from moving either side. Absolutely. So second shift is behind us. Second shift took 2 trades. One worked in my favor. One worked against me. Okay, book profits and put. Great job, Venkat. Make sure to like the video on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. All right, let's see if we make that run now. Qs are back above 550. Qs are back above. In this scenario, it might have been better for me to wait for that retest. Right, my entry wasn't close to the key level. It was kind of in the middle of here. Okay, so waiting for that, waiting for your entries or keeping your entries as close as possible to the key levels give you the best chance. So they're trying to frustrate as many traders as possible before the next move. What I do see happening here is we can kind of see this playing out as well. Look at the 5 minute. How many wicks we got up there? How many wicks we got up there? All right, but so far, the best trade so far for me has been that scalp right off the open with the full position. So throughout the day, the size goes lower and lower and lower and lower. Right? The objective is that you trade as take quality trades during 9:30 to 11. That's the sweet spot. All right, let's see if we get a close above this level here. So we haven't got a close above this level the entirety of second shift. So put in the chat, do we make an all-time high here? All-time high? Or no? Should we try it again? Put ATH in the chat if you think we're going to make all-time highs. That probably has to be the funniest thing. All right, let me go back to when everyone's at ATH. I call for ATH. So 1043. So 1043. Right here, look. Everyone started typing ATH. Literally, guys, right here. Right? 1043. That's when most of the messages started coming in. The very next candle, this thing dumps. Coincidence? I think not. How are you doing on Google Meets, guys? Google Meets. How are we doing? So what pattern do we see here? Okay, all-time high run. We're getting close. There we are. There we go. Official all-time highs. Stock market is at all-time highs. SPY is at all-time highs. Idea was provided here. I got stopped out, but if you stayed in it, you should be able to sit through that. VIX is dumping now. So we've officially broke. We officially broke out. This looks like a what, guys? Ascending. Ascending triangle. All right. See if you can hold above that all-time high. Now we're directional on the quarter. We're directional on the monthly, and we're at all-time highs. The question is, can this turn into support in our pursuit of 620? In our pursuit of 620, can this turn into support? Can that turn into support? Finally, bull flag. Can that turn into support? So we're above first shift highs, second shift highs. We're at all-time highs. Look at the 5-minute candle. See if we can get a close above 619.22. 619.22. Next target 620. Unless you have any fib levels in between. Next real target is that psychological level. $0.34 rate risk to 620. Retest of that quarterly upside breaker, all-time high. Looking at the 619s. Watch with FOMO, however, I'll still be at a strong rejection at all-time high. See if we can come a little bit more. So price has never been here before. If you're playing a liquidity grab, this can potentially be a liquidity grab. See if we can go hammer here. Right, what a grab. So no price action combination. Qs are dumping aggressively. Right, this is what the Qs look like on the hourly. We have 20 minutes left on the hourly candle. So we grab second shift highs. So for me to entertain this, I need some sort of bullish price action combination in this territory. Nothing emerges. It's a textbook grab. See if I can take it there. Small position again. See if we respect that 20 here. See if we can get back above this zone, back above that quarterly upside breaker. Okay. See if we get that push. Very tight risk. Daily upside breaker. Want some follow through here. The thing is, the VIX is not creating any separation in this territory. So there's no separation being created. No separation being created. So in the 619 calls, very small size. See if I can take advantage of a pop here. Back to the upside in one put from ATH. Tight stop loss. Good job. So basically after second shift or after first shift, I automatically approach with lower, smaller positions. Up 4. Take profits where you need to. If you did take this. See if you get that break above 619.22. We did see 4 inside on the 5. See if we can get some follow through here. See if we can get some follow through. And we get an impulsive pump. We need separation to be created away from the VIX. The VIX is just sitting at this dotted line. The VIX is just sitting at this dotted line. VIX need to start dumping. New 5-minute, new hourly candle in 17 minutes. If you're bearish, if this channel break, if this support breaks, this can turn into a potential dump. We did grab liquidity. We are at session highs. See if we can get a push here. How are we looking, guys? How are we looking, team? Up 2. Starting to see a lot of activity on the time and sale. So this thing needs to start moving from here. I want it to start moving. We're inside on the 5. We have about a 1 minute left on this 5-minute candle. We have a new 5-minute candle coming in. On this 5-minute candle, I prefer a close above 619.22. If we can get it close above 619.22 on this 5-minute candle, despite the fact that it's inside, that will give me a little bit of confidence. Any people in puts? It looks like Artem is in puts. Small risk. Position is flat. Did see a 4% pop there. 29 seconds left on that 5-minute candle. A close above that 16.22 would be great. We need to make about an 8-cent move to the upside. Only thing that's a little concerning for the position is the fact that we're not moving off of this dotted line on the VIX. No move. See if we get that push here. Risk is if I go 2 down, 2 up, 2 down reversal. Close below 5-minute low. I'll close the position. So inside on the 5, new 5-minute candle here. See if we get that push. Okay. See if we get new all-time highs once again. See if we get that continued push. Up 6, up 7. Take profits where you need to, guys. Don't fall in love with all-time highs. Okay, don't fall in love with the all-time highs. Take some off right there. At 8. Filled at 7. Down to runner. If we break above these highs, we'll be an all-time high. So down to a runner. Runner's up 9. Just one runner. So using very little size here. After a first shift, significantly sized down. Stopped out and IWM call at 18%. That may be my last trade for the day. Still holding SQQ put. Great job, Lynn. Was it based off of that? It was a nice bounce. Where's IWM? This bounce right here was beautiful on IWM. Right, it's making a cleaner move than any other index. Up 15, let's rock and roll. Who's in this? 18, new all-time highs once again. Great job, Lynn. 620. We're on the verge of 620. About 50 cents, 60 cents away from 620. So I'm just in this runner here. See if I can just ride this runner, ride it out. I already locked in at 7. Again, VIX not making a move. This thing just continues to grind higher, continues to grind higher. So if you're just joining us, SPY just made an all-time high. We're trading these conditions. This is a trade I took here. Stopped out. Idea worked out despite. So the way we do this is, guys, even if the idea works out, I won't take credit for it. Unless I make something out of it, I'm not going to take credit for the idea. All right? But the idea nonetheless did work out. I just got stopped out, didn't have the best entry in pursuit of that all-time high, and that worked out. This worked out as well. Just required a little patience. I locked in a profit into all-time highs. All right, so I'm in this runner here. It's up 11%. So I want price to stay above that 20. Let me put an alert while I make an entry. 7%. Again, very small size here. Retest balance calls. So still in the runner. Once the runner is updated, I'll put the runner information there. So you can see no confirmation to the downside. This thing continues to climb. So stay above that 20. I'll try to sit through this. If we can stay above that 20, I'll try to sit through this. FHFA calls on Congress to investigate. Yeah, they're coming after Jerome Powell. It's a witch hunt. So babysitting the runner. So no close below second shift highs. So in these kind of conditions, even though we're trending higher, it's an ugly trend, but nonetheless, you just sit through it a little bit, you get rewarded. Right? Just continue to monitor risk, account for risk, but the opportunities are still there. Opportunities are still there. That nice smelt up. Great job, Fido. We're testing that 9 on the 1. Runner up 4%. We're testing that quarterly upside breaker. This most recent trade. Okay, here. So let me know if you took any trades on YouTube, guys. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. If you're a first-time viewer, we go live every day at 9 a.m. with the most comprehensive pre-market program, followed by live trading. It's in your best interest to tune in early as soon as the show begins, because that's when we go through everything. We go through the ideas, lay out the game plan. A lot of the things you're starting to see that are moving, the idea was provided early, like especially IWM. Right. For my small cap IWM traders, textbook bounce off that 217.40. Granted, it was selling off in the pre-market. It was scary to take it in the face of that selling pressure. If you just take it, manage your risk, you can see that nice appreciation off that weekly upside breaker. Right. Outside of that, the indexes, Q's made an all-time high. Now, the Q's have not made an all-time high. I stand to be corrected. SPY made the all-time high. Q's have yet to make the all-time high. Q's have yet to make the all-time high, but the Q's are on the verge of going 3 up. Q's are on the verge of going 3 up. As far as individual names are concerned, we're seeing some strength on Google. Nice retest of that 177.21. Right in that territory.
NVIDIA went 3 up. NVIDIA is kind of at a standstill here at that 157.19. AVGO, nice bounce there. Apple is starting to trend on the hourly. Apple is starting to trend on the hourly to the upside. So potential 210.20. 210.20 retest on Apple off that daily upside breaker along with that 20 on the hourly. 210.20. 210 to 210.20. Still in this runner. Okay, USO, crude, starting to move. Crude is starting to break out here. Starting to wake up. See if we can reclaim that 200. See if we can reclaim that 200. Got stopped out. 5% one put. Great risk management, Arthur. Great risk management, Arthur. I got confused between Artem and Arthur. Both are A's on YouTube. So we've been diverging ever since here. We continue to diverge. Still in the runner here. See, trying to see it through. Did peak at 11.12. But we're not creating any separation away from that dotted line. I'm going to close that runner right there. At 2. So I'm out of the position. Closed. Arthur is Arthur. Okay, that's what I got confused with. Okay, cool. So retesting first shift, second shift highs. Retesting second shift highs. Was able to extract 7% out of that. 7% out of that for a quick scalp. If you held it into all-time high, into new all-time highs, you squeeze double digits out of it. But this, the way this thing is accumulating, stair step. It might be opening up the door for potential breakdown. Or look how long we've been diverging since here all the way to there. So we have not yet made new highs. As we're making highs, we're making lower highs. So we'll respect the integrity of this channel until it breaks down. Until it breaks down, we are making all-time highs. So look where we started. Here. This is where we started, 617.49, 617.50. In this territory. Once we broke out, we never looked back. We never once looked back. We never once looked back. So as we near 12 o'clock, how's everyone doing? Are we green? Are we red? Are we yellow? See if we can respect these highs. If you don't respect these highs, if you're looking for that breakdown, if you're looking for a short opportunity, the puts are dirt cheap. But again, you're working against all-time highs. Your risk will be something like this. But you need a strong close below that level. Also, do you see that head and shoulder, JB? If you're still in the chat, who sees the head and shoulder? Depending on how you draw it, or this, you can even do this. All right, potential breakdown incoming. If the VIX can continue to, the VIX can start pumping. Okay, you can wait for that retest. First stop can be here, second stop can be there. Last stop can be all the way at that 617.49. Granted, you're trading against the trend, so your risk has to be very tight. New highs is your risk. You need to close below that level. So we grab every shift highs. First shift highs. We grab second shift highs. So we get a close below here. See if we get that breakdown. But this 9 is being respected. This 9 on the 5 is being respected. The trend is clear on the 5. Is it pretty? No. But it's a trend nonetheless. So if you're trying to go short, you're going against the trend. About one put, 619.22. Okay, team, I'm out. I managed to sneak in and grab a handful of cash, and now running for the next before the alarm goes off. All position closed for a tiny win. Time to protect the loot, absolutely. However small it is, I'll check back in later. It's time to quit. Thank you, Mr. G. One trade and done. Great job, Taco. Yep, it's loving that 50. Remember that 50 translates to around that 9 EMA on the 5. Between that 45 EMA and that 50 EMA translates to that 9. So that's that right. Let's see if this comes into fruition. That's that right shoulder right there. New hourly candle here, guys. New hourly candle. We're going to open up inside. VIX is starting to tick up. VIX is starting to wake up. So how many more trades do I have left? Okay, one more. I'll go for one more. We'll go for one more. Look at the 9. So we have not even yet came and tested that 20. All right, that 9 has just been holding nicely. We haven't tested that 20 yet. We haven't tested that 50 yet. We haven't even come back and tested VWAP yet. All right, we're at all-time highs. See a little flag forming here. Little flaggy. So any high, any session high at this point is all-time high. Any session high at this point is an all-time high. I'm really interested in these puts. Okay, we're starting to dump here. I'm going to take them with small size once we close below that level. The 620 puts. in pursuit of that breakdown. If you took that, this thing should be rocking and rolling. Just manage accordingly. Super high risk here. We're going against the trend. We have a bunch of key levels right under us we can bounce off of. I'll take it right there. The puts off that retest. Couldn't get filled. Couldn't get filled. This thing is gone. And you want to take those puts there. This thing is gone. I got to be quicker than that. That retest was short-lived, but this thing is breaking down. We talked about that breakdown beautifully. We walked through it. Green Day hit goal, headed to work, walk the dog, see you in a bit. Great job, retired Fido. Started to get FOMO off this. I couldn't get filled. Yeah, that head and shoulder, right, JB? Right there. Along with that breakdown. Let's see if we can get into knees and toes. I want this thing to pump. If we can pump a little bit, I'm going to invite that pump to see if I can get an entry. Okay, pump a little bit more. Pump a little bit more. I'm going to be a penny pincher when it comes to my entry. That entry is right there, guys. You see that entry right there? We're coming into the face of these levels here. We're coming to the face of that 20. I like how the Qs are starting. I like how the VIX is starting to spike here. One more pump. See if we can pump a little bit more. I'll take it right there. So I'm in the puts. Last trade, small position. Okay, filled. Okay, puts are starting to work beautifully. Up 7%. So even with that late entry, we do have daily upside break, a pre-market high, all those levels down there. So be mindful. Okay, so be mindful of those levels. Up 7, take profits where you need to. Okay, so my entry will be a little bit like this. Lock in profits where you need to. We have that pre-market daily upside breaker, a bunch of things in that area. So feel free to TP. Okay, I'm gonna take some off right there. At 10, down to runner. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, don't catch that. We talked about it well ahead of time. So in a runner, I already locked it at 10. So the one thing is, if you're taking a 0 DTE here, you might not further data contracts. This might not yield 10. This might yield 3 to 6. Right, but now when it kind of chops around, you're not going to see as much volatility in it as well. Locked in at 10. I'm in this runner here. If the runner closes back above this territory here, I'll close that runner. Runner's down 2. See if that's just a retrace reject. We're bouncing off that daily upside breaker in PMH. I'm going to close that runner right there. Feels have been terrible today. Okay, close that runner. So quick 10 was good while it lasted. That was quick, under 5 minutes. Again, lotto size. Retest, retrace, reject. So anytime I decide to close, hold runners. Okay, anytime I hold runners, just one contract. Right there. They're not really running. That's okay. But full position, I'm always locking in. So we can see we're kind of bouncing here. Right, the setup is still valid. So if you have a further dated contract and you're trying to hold this to target, for all the traders holding to target, the setup is still valid. Okay, setup is still valid if you're holding it to target. As long as price isn't close back above these highs, doesn't make new highs. First target is here, second target is there. Third target down here, fourth target down there. The likelihood of us, if you're trying to catch this entire thing, you're probably going to have to give up some profits. But if you just go to this target here, that's like a 1.3, 1.4 to 1. All right. Right before daily upside breaker. That was the only thing that was a little concerning. We're right at the daily upside breaker, right at PMH. And that 20 is right there. So if you're looking to scalp on the opposite side, right, one person's exits, another person's entry. Beautiful job, Carlos. Retrace, reject. Absolutely retired Taco Vix. So 5 trades, guys. 5 trades. Five quick scalps. So win rate much better than yesterday. But you can see the bread and butter of the way I trade is take profits, manage risk, try to get double-digit gains. Right? Not massive moves I'm depending on. So tomorrow we have at 8:30 we have average hourly earnings. We have NFP. So we have ADP NFP, which is basically ADP's data, and we have NFP. Right, that's separate from ADP, but kind of gives us some insight on NFP, the actual data. And then we have unemployment rate, and then we have unemployment claims at 8:30, and then we have ISM services PMI. All right, so we have a bunch of things, and tomorrow is also a short day. So coming into tomorrow, I'm automatically going to go to half size or lotto when I'm trading. I'm not going to be full size. All right, half or lotto. Probably limited to 3 trades. All right, because of the time. I have a time constraint. We have a time constraint. Make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. Make sure to subscribe. If you're a first-time viewer, let us know where you're joining from. If you're a long-time viewer, take the next steps. Immerse yourself with our community. Utilize the resources. And everyone in the community, automated levels now includes all this stuff. Okay, includes the bread and butter, of course, this dashboard, all the technicals. It includes this dashboard, our bird's eye view. This bird's eye view. Bird's eye view is basically an overview of all the indexes and the commodities, and our Elite 8. These are the Elite 8. So all the levels will be updated for these names every day without you moving a muscle. All you need to do is open it up. If you see an opportunity, if it lines up with your risk, if it lines up with any setups you're paying attention to, use it as confluence. Allocate risk, manage risk, and let the probabilities play out. All right, that's available. Now available here. So under super charts, that's available. All three of them. I'll also make this available as well. So we'll get our own calendar going. Let's take a look at crude oil inventories. That came in. It came in below. So it came in above. It came in above forecast and above previous reading. So we saw a bullish pump off the open. And we just kind of chopped it around at 10 o'clock. Right? Let's go verify. No, we saw a pump. All right. So data collection, very, very important. By the end of July, we'll have a good idea on how we're reacting to these different catalysts. All right. So whatever the catalyst is, we put the catalyst in. We monitor the interactions. You have the key levels. So if you want to get used to putting these key levels, take these key levels every morning. It takes 10 minutes. You can plot them on your chart, or you can use super charts to have the key levels there already. All right. What I do see here, earlier we saw the ascending triangle for a short-lived break. So ascending triangle is basically the textbook way to approach the ascending triangle is, we're just trading, and then that's how we're taught to trade the ascending triangle. Okay, so the ascending triangle, we can see here, kind of played out there, but it was short-lived, meaning it kind of went and then it kind of just faded back to the downside. Now what we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing the descending triangle. I mean, I would actually argue you can trade the ascending triangle and descending triangle the opposite way. Because textbook way to trade the descending triangle is price continues to tighten, and kind of just falls off a cliff. Right? I would argue this can be an accumulation for a breakout on top of a trend. The only difference is, the difference between this and a bull flag is the bull flag is just kind of pointing a little downward, or even a pennant, right? Okay, so that's what we're kind of seeing. We're coming right into that 20. We can see a nice move off of that. The only thing is, where do you put your risk? You want that 50? You want that 50? You want to use your ATR 40, 30, back into new all-time highs. So the last handful of minutes, or the last couple of shifts, price action has been ugly. Nonetheless, we are respecting the grind. Okay, we're grinding higher, we're pushing, we're making all-time highs. We made all-time highs multiple times here. Once, twice. We made 2 all-time highs today. After this nice pump, this is where traders will start getting frustrated. All right? So it looks like most of you are pretty much done for the day. So let's see if we get a breakout here. So did we break out here, guys? Push into new all-time highs. Input. Okay, we're starting to push here. Starting to push. Starting to push. See if we can hold above that 619.22. VIX has not gone anywhere. After we made that move, we're just basically stagnant. We're kind of basing out here. The question is, for all my cup and handle, kind of basing out like a cup and handle, or forming that cup. So we're at session lows. We're finding a nice resting spot here. If we continue to form that round, if we continue to round out, this can easily turn into a cup and handle on the VIX. But this was the runway. This was the runway from this morning. So when we were trending, you need that runway like this. Now we're not trending. We're just grinding. Okay? So when we're trending, we need that runway just like this. That gives you the go-ahead. That gives you the go-ahead to use all your trend following techniques. Yeah, double top as well. Make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. Make sure to subscribe. Let's go take a look at some other tickers. So the short setup is still intact. If you're using further data contract, if you're short, if you like to hold a target, still has not been invalidated. You're just sitting through a lot of chop, sitting through a lot of back and forth. See if you another breakdown like this. The only thing is, once we start approaching this territory down here, we are approaching that daily upside breaker and that pre-market high. Daily upside breaker, pre-market high. Make sure to like the video on YouTube, guys. So a lot of you were able to make your bread and butter here. Let's take a look at some tickers. Ticker. We'll jump over to the 15. Nike continues to run after earnings. Nutanix not doing much. Palantir, I like Palantir. I want it to slowly work its way into this territory. And Palantir is for a swing position. Ideally, if you can kind of stay above this territory and not come into this territory before maybe next week, that would be great. Because I don't want to hold over the weekend. Right, so let it drop a little bit more. It needs to drop another 5-6 points. Pepsi is absolutely out of here. And that retest level provided was what, guys? 135. 135 for that retest. Now next destination 140. Hood. Nice bounce off 90. Just by using psychological levels, you can spot opportunities. So you don't need anything complicated. If you have exceptional risk, exceptional management, exceptional account management, you can use these psychological levels. All right, especially if it's moving. Toast is brewing. Toast is brewing, not yet. Toast is brewing. It's not ready yet. TGT. We talked about TGT. TGT continues to push. TGT is above that. Anytime, especially when stocks are double digits and they're below 100, when they break above 100, that's a psychological level that they're breaking. And it's a significant psychological level. Any stock that, if it's a penny stock and it's starting to push, 10 is a key level automatically. Okay? If it's $70, $80, $100 is a key level. So we break above that 100, we're pushing to 105. If you're looking for potential retest, second entry, see if you can hold above 105 between 100 and 103. Okay, 100 and 103. For retest, keep in mind it's further dated. All right, so you can give yourself a little bit more wiggle room as far as the entries. All right, AMD continues to go. Nice breakout on AMD. United Health down 3%. So the biggest winners so far, or let's go with the biggest losers. Biggest losers up until this point. Let's take off the pre-market. I want to make it nice and clean. Thank you. I bought Target at 95, just bought 10 shares, but it's growing absolutely. Target is a long-term. At one point, Target was in Canada, but I don't think they liked the market there, and they kind of closed shop. So let's do a quick rundown. CMG. Billy, Baba, potentially brewing CMG. Chipotle. Eventually this thing will start setting up. All right, we have nothing else for us to look at on SPY, so to keep us focused, Burke. There we go, Burke. Burke is a great long-term ad. Burke is a great long-term ad. So ever since Buffett announced his retirement, look at Burke. Let me just show you Burke, guys. Burke. Since inception. Look at that monster move. Alright, so Burke, regardless, is a great long-term ad. Do your due diligence. It's coming into some good territory. So anything that's for the long term, 10%. If you want to break it down like this, think of it like this. Whenever you're doing a long-term ad, you have three prices divided into three. All right, long-term ads. Anything you're holding for 10% and beyond, you already did your due diligence, or 10 years and beyond, or 5 years and beyond. Okay, you have your. Anytime we're 5% pullback. Okay, just think of it like a top up. You're just going to pick up a little bit. All right, anytime we're at 10% and beyond, we're starting to move here on SPY 619. So 10% and beyond, so 10 to 15%, but under 20%. All right. Just add your normal size. Okay, add normal size. Anytime is 20% and beyond. Load up. So this is only for names that you did your due diligence on and you're looking to build a position on. All right. So if you follow this, okay, it works to a T. All right. So Burke is in the territory where, let's take a look at the pullback. I know a lot of people that like Burke haven't been able to get in. So Burke is pulling back. It's down 11%. So that's a pretty decent ad. Right? Down 11%. So now is the time to consider. See what levels you like it at. See what price you like it at. If you already have a position, see if you can average into it. If you don't have a position yet, this is a decent ad. 10% correction on Burke, about 11% correction on Burke. All right. If it continues to sell off, if it comes into this territory, into that 20% territory in that 440, anywhere between let's take it 20%. Anything between 430, 25% is here, and 406, that's load the boat. All right, so Burke long term, that might be brewing. Rivian, nothing. Duke. CRM. Potential dead cat balance breakdown, or the question, is that legit? So I haven't traded CRM before, so a lot of these names have wide spreads. Starbucks, is there something on Starbucks that we like? Starbucks double top there, pushed into these highs, aggressively rejecting. So the question becomes, does it have enough fuel? Is there enough selling pressure off that rejection to potentially push into these lows down here? Starbucks is what, guys? Range bound. Range bound right away. All right, it's range bound. So does it have enough fuel to the downside, or does it have enough caffeine to the downside to push into these territories, into that 90, 91 territory? And eventually, if we can push into this territory, 90, maybe 90 psychological level, we can see maybe intraday bounce. So in Starbucks, if you can get some sort of, that was a nice retrace reject, maybe a nice little relief pop to the upside, and then continue to push lower. Right? And what you can do is just throw the EMAs on there for confluence. Don't make your job harder than it needs to be. All right, don't make it harder than it needs to be. So let the EMAs cross over, let all that take place. All right, and then take it from there. So Starbucks, aggressive rejection of that territory. Question is, does it have enough fuel to the downside after going double top and triple top, bigger picture, off of June 11th highs? Let's get back to our, look at SPY. Look at SPY. Look at SPY. 51st date is cooked. All right, so please don't get caught up in this, guys. Please don't get caught up. If you have any chart requests, let me know. Just made 7% on Apple. Look at that, guys. Printing. To the downside, Carlos. So when you're trading these contracts, the best contracts to trade out of the Elite 8, Meta is steep. Meta has wide spread, so be careful. It's costly. Microsoft can be spready. Palantir, pretty good spreads, pretty good cost. NVIDIA is good. Google, Broadcom, all good. So if it's anything below $200, right, the spreads are not going to be too aggressive, depending on the IV. But if the underlying is 500, 700, $1,000, then the contracts are going to reflect that as well. Toast, right? Toast is brewing Doctor. That's one I have my eye on. All right. We can even do some fundamentals. So what I like to see is companies that are working their way to profitability. They have a path to profitability. They're unprofitable. They continue to grow. Okay. They have some sort of MRR model where they have subscriptions or monthly recurring revenue. They're expanding. They're in a new space. Toast. All right. Toast. Let that thing break out. This thing has room into 69. All right. So let it just monitor it. Toast above 40. Let it stay above 40. Between 40 and 45, just monitor Toast. This is 3 months out plus, or even a long-term ad. Out of its all-time highs, it's about 35%. And JB brought this to our attention early on. Bounce to the upside. Great job, Carlos. Remember Bull? JB brought this to our attention very, very early on. Remember JB? I'm curious if you have. There's Weeble. You saying go take a look at Weeble. They just IPO'd. Okay, we can see this is basing out. Let's see if Weeble is past its lockup period. So when do they IPO exactly? Let's go back. April. So May, June, July. Maybe they're about to get past that 90-day mark. So Weeble. Look at that. Above that 1139, 1140. Out of there. Okay. Kind of going cup and handle here. Who can see it? If you see it, you see it. So now what you need to do is wait for that handle. Wait for the handle. Wait for the handle. So let it go into this territory up here. We have a nice brim up there, triple top. Let that triple top play out. And it'll be a catalyst for us to pull back a little bit, create that handle. How far does the handle want to go? Might have room until 12. All right. If it's a large handle, small handle, maybe 1250. Between 12 and 1250. And then back the upside. All right. Or if it just blasts past this territory up here, nice room to 1820 territory. From 60 to 6 is because of IPO. So we see this all the time with the IPOs. All right. Look at that. If you're going to see a crazy company, Wolf, look at this. Look at this, Wolf. So they make wafers for chips, American company, known as Cree. At one point it was at 142.33. That's at 81 cents. So this thing has been around since 1994. So it's basically at 1994 levels. All right. So again, we continue to grind higher. We continue to grind higher. We continue to chop around, but we are going higher. Another push into all-time highs here. This is exhausting. This is exhausting for traders. All right, so good thing our work is done. My work is done. Let's see if we can go directional. The question is, the value might be in the Qs. Since we already made all-time highs on SPY, the value play might be in the Qs. Since the Qs just bounced off that daily downside breaker and went 3 up. So if the SPY continues to grind, the value might be in the Qs. If we drop down to the 5, what do we see here? Aggressive push. If we break above that daily upside breaker, I believe the Qs do have a gap here as well they need to address. Yes, they have a gap they need to address. There's a gap the Qs need to address. So that TOG is in that territory, and that 551.54. And then off to all-time highs. So nice break. Breakout on the Qs. Fueled by, sponsored by the double bottom or triple bottom, right? And that daily downside breaker. Look at that explosion. Look at that explosion. So again, guys, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe. We're nearing the end of the episode. It's been an awesome episode once again. Before we wrap up, let me know how everyone ended their day. Right, the objective is to get everyone, provide all the resources needed to ensure that our team closes green. Okay, that's the goal. Provide the trade ideas, the resources, the tools, so you can consistently be profitable. New all-time highs if we get above these highs here. Here we go. 619.45, all-time highs, guys. New all-time highs, downward compression, breakout. Took forever, but breakout nonetheless. Took forever, breakout nonetheless. This thing is out of here. So this requires a ton of patience. Requires a ton of patience. Further dated contracts. If you look at it, we're moving 36 cents per 5-minute candle, making all-time highs. Volume is low. You can even throw the volume on the chart if you like. All right, so you can see the volume continuously declining. And this is a breakout, right? Breakout. Test of that 20, downward compression, breakout, stays above 1619.22, 619.22, pushes. Next destination is 620. Next destination is 620. So what I'm curious to see is, do we close in new all-time highs or at new all-time highs? Okay, that's the question. Can we maintain all the work the bulls did here to pump this thing all the way from, in pre-market, all the way from that quarterly open, 616.42, all the way to 619? How much of this can they maintain into the close? All right, there's still about 3 hours left. Okay, so there's still a chance for us to pull back somewhat, but we made 3 all-time highs today. We're above that quarterly upside breaker. If we can close near that 620 or above that 620, I think the bulls did their job. Right, if we can pull back a little bit, let's go over visit the hourly. We're breaking out under the accumulation. So let's go back to our chart, our diagram here. So now when we visit this diagram, this is where we are. Okay, this is exactly where we are. So if we're breaking out of this accumulation after making this massive run, this could be the first day of a multi-day run up. The only issue is we have a half day tomorrow, Market is closed on Friday. We have 2 days in between. Anything can happen over the weekend. And then we open back up on Monday. All right? So very, very tricky. Nonetheless, we're breaking out of this range. We're breaking out of this accumulation. What we'll verify that is if we can get above that 620. We're past this point now. So now we're going to use this as, the beautiful thing is we can use it as support. So anytime we revisit this, we know how difficult it was for us to break past this point. Anytime we revisit this, there can be an opportunity for a bounce. All right, so when strong resistance gets broken, it turns into strong support. Green Day, great job, Elaine, great job, Carla. So let's lock in this week, guys. If you're green on the week, if you're green on the day, tomorrow do as little as possible. All right, do as little as possible. Even size completely down, just to close out the week green. You know how much that's going to do for your confidence, guys. If you can close out the first week of the month, first week of the new quarter, green is going to do tremendous things for your confidence. All right, now you just have to build upon that. Keep building, keep building, keep building. You're off to a great start. Green for the week, great job. You've been absolutely on a tear, Lynn. The vacay was probably a nice reset. Sometimes you need to reset your eyes, right? Sometimes you need to reset your eyes to really get a good view of the picture. All right. That's like, do you guys remember doing your math homework? If you were kids, it's like if you can't solve a problem, you kind of have to walk away for a little bit and come back to it, and you can see it. You can see it properly. Wow, that's really good. Didn't look at any charts. Green Day, $40. Small. Play small. You learn the rules. Yep. Discord cover for monthly. Absolutely. That's the goal. And some. Great job. Great job. All right. Now we have a new zone for tomorrow. New zone for tomorrow. So I will drop this in the chat, guys. I'll probably give you guys the master copy. So please don't go in here and start changing things. If you want to modify your this, then I can give you another copy for the Discord to do whatever you want. All right. So I'll share this. It's going to be in the tool section. So these are the two new features. All right. So first trade, we got a nice push, full size, 14%. Close the entire position. Second trade, stopped out with that runner, 7% with the majority. That was half, and everything else was lotto. Right, so you can see this pump right here. That's basically what put me in the green, kept me in the green. And now I encourage everyone to do that. If you catch a 14% trade with full size, it doesn't matter if it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 contracts, that's a healthy dollar amount. There's no reason for you to go back in and go full size again. Go half size and start going lower. You're covering your risk. So worst case scenario, you're not giving up too much of this. All right, because again, the mistake traders make is they're green and they go full size, full size, full size, full size. And by the end of it, they're either break even, red, or small green. So sizing matters. Okay, the way you're sizing into your positions matters. All right, you have to know when to use size, when not to use size. If we're after first shift, especially in these kind of conditions, automatically we're out of that window where full size is applicable. Okay, and if you catch these 7%, 10%, 8%, stop out here, stop out there, multiple attempts with small size, it's only going to amount to paper cuts. All right. So that's available. So make sure you put your entries in the journal. It's been an awesome day as always. Spy's out of here. Weekly upside breaker retest. Okay, so for my higher time frame, people who like to hold positions for a long time, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on these levels. Okay, these will provide you the opportunities to really hold. Okay, if you like to have a wide risk, all right, just adjust your risk accordingly. This will kind of block out the noise. So that's available. All right, that's available. So I want you guys to start taking setups that align with the things you look for. Right, try to take setups on your own as well. All right, the whole point of the community, Bitcoin is out of here. Bitcoin's about to get to 110. 110 psychological level incoming. We're about 400 bucks away. All right. Done for the day, George. God bless you and your family. Thank you for what you're doing. God bless you too. I believe that's Artem. Okay, we're more than a community, guys. So to me, it's always an honor. It's a privilege to work alongside you guys. All right, and the fact that we can learn and we can interact and we get rewarded for it. Why not? Trust me, trading is a boring sport. It's a very lonely game. People in your family don't understand what you're doing. They don't understand what you're talking about. You're isolated. The market wants you to be isolated. It wants you to be basically on your own. Right? Because if you're on your own, if you're not in a community, there's a good chance that the market can brutalize you. It can play the games with you. You have no one to bounce ideas off of. All right? So when you're in a community, the chances of you becoming profitable, right? When other traders are doing it, when other traders are putting in the same amount of work or more work, it's encouraging. And the kind of environment we're cultivating is pure encouragement. Okay, there's no competition. The competition is within ourselves. It's basically you versus the market. Like, that's how I like to put it. It's you versus the market. You have two opponents at all times, yourself and the market. So there's no way for us, there's no space for anyone to compete with one another. It's just purely contribution. Okay, so we'll look to wrap up here, guys. Apple, daily upside breaker bounce, comes into it. Look at that. Okay, look at that, nice little bounce. Key levels, I'm telling you. These key levels, look at that. And we're not thinking of this now. We're not, your setups have to be ready. It's called a setup. It has to be ready ahead of time. You have to set it up. All right, it comes into it because now traders start chasing when it's all the way up there. Okay, so there's so much, the abundance of opportunities the market provides is unparalleled. There's too much opportunity. It's opportunity overload. Opportunity overload. I can't possibly take advantage of everything. Right? We have retired Fido doing small caps on a scanner. We have the indexes. We have the Elite 8. Right? So there's something for someone at some point. Okay? If you just trust your setups, if you look for the setups, something will emerge. Something will eventually emerge. This thing continues to push higher, 620. So what's the biggest winner so far? Let's take a look at the list. mRNA. Healthcare is starting to go. One of these days we'll short Pfizer and mRNA or make money off of them. Get our payback. So Pfizer's starting to move here at 25. But anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Folks on YouTube, if you found value from our episode, if you found value from the show, we go live every single day at 9 a.m. Most comprehensive pre-market program show, followed by live trading. If you want that ad-free experience alongside a handful of resources that can really change the way you approach the markets, this is the community for you. Objective is to trade one ticker for 1 hour for one consistent result. And my job is to give you all the tools and resources you need to unlock consistent profitability. When you join, you get access to live trading screen share, audio, 1 to 3 trade ideas per day, the ebook, automated technicals. Now there's two new things added to the automated technicals. So all these levels are there for you. Okay, all the levels are there. All you have to do is just watch, wait, see a setup, allocate, manage risk. Take profit where you need. That's all you need to do. So you don't need to be going through thousands of stocks looking for an idea. It's right there. You either trade the Elite 8 or you trade the indexes. That's it. All right? Or if you want to create your own Elite 8 with different stocks, you can do that. So narrow your universe. But first, I want people to be trained on SPY. All right? SPY is the bread and butter. That's the whole objective of the community. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description. Use the code NEW. All right, use the code NEW. We'll take advantage of the discount. We'll extend it to July 4th. And starting next week on Monday, we'll add futures to the fold, and I'll be doing a Top Step challenge. So the only difference is I'll have these tabs taking my options trades. And I'll have another tab here for Top Step, and I'll try to take advantage of the hourly moves. All right, so I can kind of sit through it. All right, so we'll walk through that together. It's going to be my first time doing a challenge in a long, long time. I had a bad experience a few years ago. See if things change. Before I give any recommendations of any of these companies, I have to do it myself. I have to do it myself. If I go through, if they pay me out, I'll give everyone the green light. All right. So it's gonna be very, very fun. So make sure you don't miss out and take advantage, guys. So if you have any questions on YouTube, drop your questions. If not, we're going to end it here, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time for episode 79.